мэрэгчдийн тамирчид номер 1 ахыг хүсдэг.
Сууны कुरा нагорно साथी.
Сайн байна уу? Би Монгол улсаас оролцож байгаа Stalwart спортын тамирчин Action байна.
Сайн байна уу? Монгол улсыг төлөөлж байгаа Stalwart e-спортын багийн тоглогч Билүүт байна. Тоглолтын нэр Scry.
नमस्कार मेरो नाम चाहिँ अन्जन राई हो र म डिआरएस गेमिङको प्लेयर हो
नमस्ते सबैजना मेरो नाम चाहिँ उगेन छोपेल लामा
Hello everyone, I'm Sifu from Team Derais guys.
नमस्ते म चाहिँ डी रेटेड सर टिमको नाम चाहिँ डेराइज गाइस अनि हामी चाहिँ नेपालबाट
मेरो विचारमा चाहिँ हाम्रो रिजनबाट स्टालवर्ड स्पोर्ट्सले नै जित्नेछ
Ер нь бол энэ жил BTR-аа авраг авах ягаад гэвэл тэд өнгөрсөн үед авраг авч ирсэн болохоор бид шинэ багч гэсэн энэ жил хүчтэй өрсөлдөж юу чаддгийг харууллаа.
Yeah, Star Wars is a strong team, but so are East League teams. There won't be any easy or hard groups. Everyone is stronger here, and the competition has never been tougher.
यो टुर्नामेन्टमा चाहिँ जे पनि हुन सक्छ र प्रथम इस्ट लिगको प्रथम हुने टिम यो टुर्नामेन्टमा अन्तिममा जान पनि सक्छ र के та कसैलाई के та हामी डेराइज प्रथम हुन्छौँ कि
Тоглогч нарт бол итгэлтэй маш их чухал. Манай бүсийн бүх тамирчид багууд бүгдээрээ сайн, бүх мэрэгчдийн тамирчид номер 1 ахыг хүсдэг.
Мароккогийн багууд тоглохоор байсан. Тэгээд тэртээ тоглох болохоор цагийн зөрүүнд өглөө байдаг болохоор тэднэрт хэцүү байгаа хаа.
त्यसैले मलाई चाहिँ अरूको लागि एकदमै दुःख लागिरहेछ केही छैन सक्दोसम्म चाँडो सकाइदिउँ अनि अरूलाई चाहिँ होलिडेमा पठाइदिउँ है
धेरै राम्रो भइसक्यो गेम अब त यसो बिदातिर पनि जानु पर्ला
Та нарын итгэлтэй байдал бид нар жоохон инээдтэй санагдаад байна.
हँसाउने कुरा नगरन साथी
East бүсэд юусоо сул баг гэж байхгүй. Та нар хүснэгтийг тэргүүлээгүй хэр удаж байгаа вэ? Бид нар та нарын хэлсэн үгийг харамсуулахын тулд бид нар та нараар кино хийх болно.
हाम्रो लागि चिन्ताको विषय भनेको नि चाइनिज टिम मात्र हो
Бид нэр зөв өмнөд Азийн багуудтай тоглохыг маш их хүсэж байна.
सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ हामीलाई चाइनिज टिमदेखि चाहिँ उनीहरुसँग भिन्न एकदम इच्छुक छौं हामी सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई हामी हराउने एकदम कोसिस गर्ने छौं
Тал нутгийн аваргуудын хүчийг удахгүй мэдрүүлнэ та нарт.
र म चाहिँ र हाम्रो टिम चाहिँ के भन्न चाहन्छु भन्दाखेरि सबै टिमलाई हामी चाहिँ कोहीसँग डराउँदैनौं र हामी आउँदैछौं सबैजनालाई एलिमिनेट गर्न
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الفوز والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
السلام عليكم معكم مهدي شاطو من فريق كريبتكس المغربي أحد ممثلي الشرق الأوسط في بطولة PMGC.
Hello everyone, I'm Raouf from Nigma Galaxy, originally from Algeria.
بإذن الله جايين هالموسم عشان نحقق المركز الأول في الشرق.
I really admire the Chinese team Nova Esports.
أتوقع أن تيمات جنوب شرق آسيا والتيمات الصينية تيمات قوية وإحنا مو تيم ضعيف وكريبتكس قد التحدي بالبطولة.
I think the first team in East League might be a Chinese team, but the finals are guaranteed to no one.
مثل ما قال نجم كريكسي الليج مو نفس الأول بالفاينل الفاينل أهم ومع قوة الفرق الشرقية هدفنا السيدة.
These goals are too conservative. Our main goal is to win the finals and be top one.
الكلام الكثير ما له فايدة إذا بدكم تثبتوا حالكم اثبتوه على خريطة إيرانجل.
I think our mentality is fine. It might be easy to get ahead of ourselves and we lost some games in season 2 as a result, but we will not make those mistakes again. And I think we're mentally stronger than any other team.
العقلية قوية مهمة لكن قدرة اللاعب الفردية هي تحدد بين الفوز والخسارة.
بما أنه نحكي عن عقلية تيمنا كثير قوية وما راح نخسرها بالفاينل وما خايفين من الخسارة وأنا واثق كثير من تيمي أنه راح نسوي شيء بالفاينل.
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الفوز والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
Nice. You need to trust your teammates, but when it comes to teamwork, we can show you how it's done.
داخل الجيم أكيد راح نتصادم مع الفرق الثانية وأتوقع راح يكون في كر وفر بينه وبين الفرق الآسيوية ولكن أنا متحمس لتدميرهم مرة ثانية.
تاكتيك شبع الفرق اليابانية والكورية قوي لكن الشيء اللي يفرق داخل الجيم هو المهارات القتالية وكريبتكس ما راح يرحم أي فريق.
كريبتكس وين؟
RC, they've lost a man, made that 2, now a 2v2, and somehow TGB, they're answering back. And bear in mind, never mind, RC are gonna get wiped out in a blink of an eye. How did that even happen? TJP, that was a 2 versus 4 Imperium, a 2v4, and is still somehow clutch it out.
I mean, Jason was talking about it when we were watching this game about how this is somewhat similar to what they were doing in PMGC for last season, and yeah, I would have to agree. It's just they feel so confident in this type of lobby that they're making it through. I think that I'm going to quote Suk, and I'm pretty sure he did say this at one point in the past tournament, where he said qualifying in the Chinese region to PMGC is complicated. PMGC itself is easy, and when you see Nova go for plays like this, like it really shows that is their mentality coming into this tournament. They're feeling super confident coming into this.
And right now they're sitting on 12 and what should be 14 kills and a chicken dinner unless Mela does something truly ludicrous. Divine going for the res duello, keeping Mela at bay, out in the open, gets caught out, and Team Reject, they get their chicken dinner.
Oh my god, Reject!
Another team that's going to stand out, and I'll leave it open to you two to actually talk about whichever wants to take it. Reject, Japan. We talked about Bluebees, we talked about how they did last year, and we knew this year they had much better infrastructure going into PUBG Mobile. So happy, at least for me, to see them end up in 4th place.
Still haven't seen him liquid. Oh, just spot him in Divine. He's gonna pounce. That's the first knock. Looking for the second one as well. And Divine's doing everything by his lonesome. Spot the third player too. Need to be careful because the player right underneath him, and he will be brought down. But backup has arrived as Reject looking to make quick work of BTR, and quick work indeed it will be. That is gonna be the squad wipe, beg your pardon. And goodbye, good night, BTR.
They'll have easily punched their ticket into the Super Weekend. Tony K, that was an unfortunate run.
I would say though, I mean, over time, teams I feel like maybe getting some experience, like trying to adapt to the lobby, to acclimate to the lobby, I think is probably the appropriate term. I hope for the likes of, BTR, Dam1, VC Swell, and FaZe Plan, that they're watching very intently across these 3 days of the Super Weekend. The thing is, for them, it's really hard to practice.
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
PUBG Mobile fans around the world, welcome to the 2021 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. To the top teams across all regions, we have a message for you. The Middle East, you have proven your worth. Now, make your formidable debut on the PMGC stage. South Korea, forget the past. This year, show the world you've ascended. Remind the world of South Korea's raw talent. Japan, you came so close last year. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Bring it back better than ever. The Americans, you're the alpha dogs that dominated the West. Now, lead the pack on the world stage. Southeast Asia, you took down so many strong teams on your journey to the top. It's time for a comeback on the global stage. Europe, it's now or never. Push your limits and surprise us all. This is the moment to create your legacy. South Asia, you were the dark horse of 2020. Amaze those who would underestimate you again. China, you carry the crown of last year's PMGC. Now, with everyone's eyes on you once more, can you secure back-to-back victories? PMGC needs a champion. The world needs a champion. Who will stand victorious in the end? Who will be next to glory?
Hello, PUBG Mobile fans. It's almost time to bring together the world's top teams for the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021. This year's PMGC has a total prize pool of $6 million for teams and players, and tons of great rewards for our fans as well. PMGC will consist of 2 stages, League and Grand Finals. The League phase will last from November 30th to December 24th. During the League phase, teams from the Americas and Europe will compete in the West League, while teams from Asia and the Middle East will compete in the East League. Each league, 20 teams will compete on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 16 slots to compete on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in that week's Super Weekend. The total Super Weekend scores over the first 3 weeks will determine which 16 teams will compete in the PMGC League Finals during the final week. The top 9 teams from the East League Finals, the top 6 teams from the West League Finals, and a special invited team will advance to the PMGC Grand Finals. The PMGC Grand Finals, which will take place on January 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, will determine the PMGC 2021 Global Champions. Who will be the next to glory? Don't miss a single minute of exciting PMGC action.
The key to a well-balanced breakfast is having a hearty bowl of some PUBG Mobile action, and we have the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021 East League kicking off here into our second day of our second Super Weekend. We've already had some teams step up massively from that first week, in particular, Enigma Galaxy, but we also have some teams hot on their heels like Vegatron and FaZe Clan. Jason Kaplan joined by Maximan Professor Tarzan to break down all these matches, to cover everything happening today. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I didn't have breakfast, unfortunately, so I feel like this PUBG Mobile day is going to be good. It's just what I need to hopefully have a good balanced diet. But I mean, as you said it right, we had some teams climbing up pretty nicely, and especially Enigma Galaxy. But the thing is, can they hold on to that these next 2 days? That's the big question to be asked here.
Yeah, and Tarzan, you should be feeling good. You're looking good. You're looking fantastic. You're looking rested. You're looking younger and better than Max and I. You know, can we get rid of you actually? Because I like to be the most attractive
I don't like
on
this.
camera.
Yeah, I thought like Max was lying when he said, I'm feeling good, because
I'm not anymore.
I remembered when this morning started. I was like, I woke up on the wrong side of bed and started like hammering things into. But no, like these teams though, like we're very excited to watch them, because yesterday we do believe we have a very good series of games filled with variety, really different finishes, different types of play. So I just can't wait to see more.
Yeah, and different teams winning, more importantly, which was really great to see. Again, we were getting a little bit worried that maybe the teams at the top would continue to stay at the top and the teams at the bottom would have no fight left in them, but they definitely did. And maybe one reason for that is they picked up a nice 1+9, which is actually our sponsor here at PMGC, with his flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers. The 1+9 and 9 Pro are your best shot to climb the leaderboards. And climb the leaderboards is exactly what we saw out of some teams. Again, we have the likes of Damwon, FaZe Clan, Bigatron, their very first Super Weekend, trying to climb those leaderboards in particular to catch up to the teams who did not qualify in the Super Weekend. But if you guys have missed out on these last, well, pretty much 2 weeks of action, let's refresh your memory about the whole format of the tournament. We have 2 days of league play on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, while each team will be playing out 8 matches over the course of those 2 days, and only 16 of the 20 teams will advance into our Super Weekends. Now, the Super Weekends are important because any points you get there will stick around into the following next Super Weekend. They continue to get tallied until we have all 3 Super Weekends done. And at the end of those three Super Weekends, our top 16 teams will go into the league finals, where only the top 9 will join the likes of the top 6 from West League, and of course 1 invited team from India in our grand finals, all playing for $6 million. That could buy you a whole lot of breakfast, Max.
I'm going to have to get some Weetabix eventually. I'm sure Blank will be happy about that one. But yeah, you'll be able to get yourself quite a few breakfasts with that one. But hey, man, this tournament, we're just about to hit the middle part of the Super Weekends today. And after that, we're going to have to see, we're going to have a better idea as to which teams are going to be really, really comfortable. And if some teams maybe want to try and deny others from making it into the finals, which could be a pretty interesting prospect. But man, it went way faster than I initially expected, Tarzan. We're just zooming through the games now.
Yes, exactly. But I do want to talk about maybe preparation and mentality, because we talk about how there's a bigger margin of error allowed. Like on the East League, you do get qualified a little bit easier to the grand finals. So I actually think with some of these teams have started to prepare for the grand finals already, like watching West League even, like I wouldn't be surprised, because if I were them, I know where the money is and I would start preparing that way as well.
Okay, all right. I mean, I find that a little bit controversial, actually, that sentence of easier to qualify in East than in West. I understand the reasoning behind it, right? There are 3 more slots. But also, I feel like, personally, the caliber of teams should technically be stronger here in East, just because we've seen East domination throughout the last, 2-3 years? I don't think we've ever seen a West team really win out events, like, consistently.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think the East is just the most competitive region as of right now. We'll see if West can try and contest potentially into the grand finals. That's where the question is going to be answered, of course. But looking at the overall rankings in the Super Weekend so far, 209 points for Infinity. They've always been around that 10-point average every single game. They're able to hold on a 10-point average over 20 games, Tarzan. That is the most insane prospect you can look at in the overall rankings. And also for Rivals being second without a win, like, they're going to get one eventually, but it just hasn't happened yet.
I feel like if we stop talking about it today, things may change, Max. And I think that's a good way to think about it. But second page, though. Like Starwood Esports, we started this tournament with a lot of love for this team for very good reason. I watched their scrims. We've seen how they played in league play, but in Super Weekends, they are lacking a little bit of gas.
Yeah, they've been lacking a little bit of gas, but so has Tong Xiaobao at 19 points so far in this second Super Weekend, and they're in 16th place. Bigatron are just a measly 40 points behind. So realistically, if we see Bigatron just replicate the performance of yesterday and maybe improve on it a little bit, they could surpass Tong Xiaobao and take that 16th place, and at the moment then be secure for the finals. But we can see here some standout players from yesterday. We got Zuxi, who honestly, he was MVP in 2 different matches, and also you, Highboy, the newest addition to Bigatron.
Actually, when you're looking at the stats from this second Super Weekend alone, you can actually see that Yuhai and Zuxi are both top 5 in terms of eliminations that they were able to rack up throughout that first day of second Super Weekend. So hey, they're back in form. It's still not the BTI I think that we are expecting. I don't know if you, Jason and Tarzan, would agree. I still think the BTI has a lot more to show in this PMGC. They came in as one of the potential favorites, and I expected them to be a lot higher, but they are slowly and surely improving over time. Their macro is a lot better than what we saw in week 1, so if they keep improving at that pace in the finals, they should be raring to go.
They should be ready to go, and obviously it's great to see Bigatron step up, especially you, Highboy, to be a little bit unleashed. But taking a look at 2 teams in particular, Enigma Galaxy had a very rough first Super Weekend, but here it's kind of surprised to see that actually their total limbs and total damage be so low, considering they got a lot of points in yesterday's games.
A lot of that came from their game 3, right? We know that that's the best game they've played so far. I feel like when we talk about how points have been gathered, they were very controlling in that early into mid game and a lot of bold plays towards the end. So want to see that more, that was on Erangel, so it's great because we've got 3 of them today.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we have the one Miramar and the one Sanhok. We're expecting, of course, always on Sanhok to see a heal off. But to be fair, as we have talked about and really dove into that strategy, it's really interesting to see the team's methodical thinking when it comes into when should we go for that, at what point do we transition to this kind of strategy, or do we still try to stick to that main taking the chicken dinner. But again, over the course of today, we've already had so many different winners. Yesterday it was again refreshing. I was going to be really frustrated, I'd say, with East League if it was just Infinity winning or getting top 3 every single time, or just seeing the same teams over and over and over and over and over and over, and I keep going, and that's how frustrating it would be just hearing me say that for 10 minutes to have the same teams winning. But as we've been mentioning, and of course the whole coaching aspect of this, a lot of the work goes in behind the scenes. A lot of the work goes into when we're done for the day broadcasting, the players are done playing for the day. It goes into so much prep, and that prep is really being shown and which teams are doing it successfully.
Yeah, it's a question about coaching, so I'm going to give it to you, Tarzan, because I know you like talking about coaching. Go about it, man.
Ooh. You know what? I actually want to bring a different aspect because we are very deep into analysis sometimes. Like, you need to do this, do that, and the macro, be friends so you don't fight. But I like how we started the show talking about breakfast, because a lot of other things we talk about, like nutrition, that is very, very key, eating the right thing, and sometimes hydration amongst all things, as well as sleep. There's a lot of concepts around sleep to make you, because that's where your body gets like the repair, right? So sleep hygiene and all those things actually quite important. Digital curfew, so do look into it if you are interested in elevating your gameplay beyond just the deep analysis. And yes, Max is already learning.
I'm taking notes.
It's good.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, Bax, you're taking notes in your hand, and I was like, that's a terrible place to put notes because you're gonna obviously wash it off. And I remember you don't wash your hands, so it maybe I don't know.
I do.
I don't know.
Come on, I'm a hygienic boy.
You are very hygienic. I don't know where I was going with that, but definitely sleep. You know, if I don't get my normal 10 to 12 hours a day, I feel terrible. And I only got 7 yesterday, so you can tell how I feel. But I'm running on the drive of watching more action today. So let's maybe talk about some teams that, at least when it came to yesterday, that kind of stood out in your eyes. Teams that really stepped up. Genesis Dogma, for me, is just a name I'm going to throw out there right off the bat. I think they had, 30 points in one match because they had 15 eliminations.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, the first match of the day.
Genesis Dogma is actually a very interesting team right now because in terms of all Super Weekend games combined, so that's 20 games so far throughout this this tournament, they actually tied up with Infinity for the most eliminations they were able to secure throughout the entire tournament. Currently standing on 98, which you're at an average of about 5 eliminations a game, which throughout 20 games, once again, that is an insanely good average to be able to hold on for that amount of time. If they can hold on even remotely closer to that strong of an average throughout all 3 Super Weekends, like, man, they're just aiming for the grand finals in January right off the bat. This team has just been consistently fragging out big time. And when you look at especially some of their individual players, Satar yesterday was the third, not even just yesterday, sorry, throughout the entire tournament, Satar is third in terms of frags with 31. Dayboy is currently tied in first with also Newsy with 33. So their individual performances are strong, but as a team, they play so well, was especially just how they play their macro, how they get into the central position in circles. It's astonishing, really, I would say here, Jason. So if they can even just remain like this throughout the entirety of the tournament, I'll be happy. I'll be golden about that because they've just been amazing so far.
Yeah, Tarzan, what about you? Any teams in particular you want to mention? I mean, we got MS Chonburi in there, who I believe had the most points yesterday at 65, actually.
I actually want to talk about Bigatron a little bit more, Jason, because of course, like MS Chonburi, it was a pleasant surprise, but we talked about the macro and what have been potentially the problem for Bigatron being a very long-standing team. Maybe it's so hard to emerge, and evolve through the meta, but they have shown some improvement yesterday, right, Max? Like in terms of their macro, in terms of rotation patterns and pacing, it was very good. And we talk about, like I like to talk about, how teams get points, and you can see they are actually very involved in the action, right? When we talk about damage output, the top 2, both from those team, right? From that team, because from the head-to-head as well, Zoxy at rank 1 and Yuhaibroy in rank 2. So they did not just get there from Circle, like they made something work so that they can help hold down those positions. So I want to see them continue with that type of play today.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think it is fair to mention Bigatron quite a bit. We, I think, talked about actually the first match where we're watching how Bigatron just did a really nice spread around farm. They didn't have to worry about any other teams around them. They were really able to realize the position they were in and capitalize off of that. But before we do finally hop into this first match, I guess we're giving predictions over the course of the entire day of who will be #1 at the end of the day. I think just from the Super Weekend. Max, who has your prediction been?
So my prediction, I went from Stalwart. I'm never going to give up on my boys from Stalwart, right? I want to see the comeback happen in the Super Weekend. It's good to see that they had an interview after week 1 saying that they knew they had some big mistakes happening. They're trying to fix them. Didn't quite show up yesterday, but maybe today's the day. So Stalwart, I think, can still make a very big impression in the Super Weekend.
Okay, Tarzan?
Yeah, I went with the Infinity. I mean, I didn't give up on them, but I gave up on Max maybe. So I'm going for something different. But hey, okay, hold on. There's a good reason. We talk about consistency. We're learning to not lean into that term as much, but we know it's key. And for this team to have gone through after like a rise from the first Super Weekend, I want them to continue. I want to have that team that we can really put that term entire to them.
Well, I went Infinity as well because they've been so good, even with 54 points yesterday. But as you see here, our predictions for the end of the day. And we'll find out who's going to be right. We probably already know who it's going to be. But let's head over to our commentators, though, to finally head into this first match of the day. Bled Imperium, take it away, boys.
Thank you, Jason. Everyone looking very fresh here on day 2 of the second Super Weekend. And speaking of fresh, Imperium, you're looking great as well.
Thank you very much. I like the fact that we have matching t-shirt and shirt combo. I got new glasses yesterday. I can actually see, so I might be able to do my job in some way, shape or form. And it's day 2 of the Super Weekend #2. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Looking at the playing path, it's going to be just, well, basically following the channel between a military island. Could make things interesting if the circle does head up north. But I do want to touch upon the predictions that our desk made. We saw some Infinities, we saw some Stalwarts. They're playing it safe. Now, I know you're someone
Max
who
is
likes
playing it safe?
I don't know. Like he said Stalwart, so was it Infinity?
It was Stalwart.
I think it was Stalwart, right? Yeah. I think Stalwart would definitely have a good chance here. But you're someone who likes, likes to be a little bit more edgy, a little bit more wild. Who are you going with?
I'm going for my boys over in FaZe Clan.
Okay.
I've
respect
recognized their talent from the start. They had a very shaky start to the global championship, of course, but in this week too, I still think they've been overshadowed in justifiably so ways by the likes of BTR, for example, and even Down One Gaming, I would say to an extent. But I see the potential in what FaZe Clan can do. I'm just waiting to see it shine through in this Super Weekend.
Let's see if that is indeed gonna pan out. Whereas FaZe Clan, they're gonna have an early skirmish here. You can take a look at the zone, and it is lovely. It is lovely.
Yes,
Maybe not
I
for
know.
half the teams, but at least for us. FaZe, though, having to go up against... I only see Lazy Boy, at least on our screens over there. But considering his presence, I'm expecting the rest of Cryptics nearby. You can see them off in the distance as Lazy Boy is going to quickly try and make his escape. You can see BR11 trying to hunt him down, but Lazy Boy might just survive here.
Oh no.
Oh.
If it's not one Cryptics player, it's another. Marshall getting caught out, and I really want to. I don't get this, right? I'm gonna be super harsh about Cryptics right now.
Do it.
You're at the global championship stage. Not everything in this game is guaranteed. It's a little bit hard to predict, but there's always variables in play. And when you have such a southern playing path, the biggest variable is that a lot of teams are going to be dropping up north of that playing path. Why do you drop so heavily split? Why put yourself in that risky situation of getting caught out, not getting a gun, a team dropping with you? If you want to succeed in the global stage and be one of the best teams in the world, you cannot make those kind of mistakes. I'm sorry, Cryptics. It's going to be harsh. Call it tough love. I know you're better than that. Please don't make these silly mistakes. They've lost 2 players for nothing. Absolutely nothing, Blair.
Absolutely nothing. And I have to agree with you on that because, yeah, they're a team who, let's be real, like, they kind of remind me a little bit of these guys, of Genesis Dogma a bit, right? Genesis Dogma, obviously, they have leapt by leaps and bounds now up top, but Genesis Dogma were a team who were competent, but, you know, we could see them kind of just trailing back, you know, yeah, making small little mistakes, being in the middle of the pack, not quite able to have the breakout game, but once they had the breakout game, they have been looking incredible thus far, a dangerous force to contend with. They have grown over the course of the event. For Cryptics, yeah, I mean, you're in week 2, like you said, Imperium, and these aren't plays you expect from them.
No, it's not. And I've watched this team grow massively over the last couple of years. I remember commentating El Chapo in early 2020, for example, and I know this team is capable of so much more. But I just had to point that out as the game is going on. Indeed, the phase 1 circle, as you alluded to, is definitely a bit painful for a lot of these teams compared to the playing path. I like the fact that for the most part, a lot of teams have opted to continue that push up north, so there's not as much of a cluster on the southern edge of the circle. Curious to see what BTR are going to do from the farm area, how they're going to deal with potentially Genesis Dogma behind them, somewhat reject to the southwest of them, and how they play into this phase 1 circle. One thing we need to consider as well with this phase 1 is a river is in play, right? So do you commit to the north? Do you need to? I would argue you don't need to commit to any side, but you do have to put yourself in a position that phase 2 gives you more than one option to rotate and play around that phase shift.
Yeah, and I guess we could even highlight, every time we've seen a circle similar to this in the first phase, there has been a tendency for it to collapse on itself, almost concentrically, I believe the term is, where, you know, it kind of winds up around the Rozhok, around Watertown, thereabouts, or maybe, you know, the edge of ruins with a little bit of water, a little bit of, you know, some banks available. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that is what's going to be taking place here as well. Infinity, they're taking a sweet time, right? They're going to be playing their usual approach, where whenever there's a northern circle, they're going to be waiting at least for the second phase, and then they make a move when whichever teams are towards Ferry Pier have evacuated that particular part of the map.
6-2-8, have a 3-1 split with Youngyang very far forward compared to the rest of his team. I'm totally okay with that once he stays out of sight, out of mind, while the rest of the team continue to kind of loot up and start rotating, because Youngyang automatically has a pretty solid anchor point they can play on towards the possible compound outside of Headshot Hills, just down south of Ruins. It would give a great scope of information towards Roshock school, while also setting themselves up for a very good phase 2 rotation / position. FaZe Clan, they're currently looting up South George. They do need to consider, although it's only 2 players, the 2 players of Cryptics that are on North George. I'm curious to see if FaZe will maybe go to either Everest or the Cube compound by the side of the river. I would definitely recommend the Cube compound because I think it's such a good spot in this kind of circle. It's near perfect for a phase 1 position in Cube compound.
We'll see if that does work in their favor here. Right now, though, I'm keeping an eye on the map. I can see one team, you know, they were a bit of a meme yesterday, but they were able to fight back at the very end. Tang Jiabao, right? You can take a look at their placings. No longer are they 16th. They are, in fact, 13th. The caveat being, obviously, the BTR FaZe and Damwon Gaming are playing the first Super Weekend. So, you know, Tang Jiabao still not in a very comfortable spot. They have all 4 alive, right? They're towards Milta Power, towards Milta, and even a couple of players looting up towards Lipovka. They're going to be making their way in from the eastern side. It's a very congested eastern side. Yeah, you have DRS towards Yasnaya. You have MS Chonburi, who, again, I always look forward to MS Chonburi and DRS going up against each other, but they've both kind of seem to have called this this quiet truce, this unsaid truce thus far, not really going up against each other. They're like, this town's big for both of us. But for DRS, the South Asian boys, a team that, I won't lie, I'm a little biased towards them. I like these guys.
I feel that.
They... Look, 7th position ain't bad, but this is a team looking to be a top 3. This is the team looking to go up against the best of the best. Yeah. And yesterday was a bit quiet.
It was a very quiet day for DRS. Look, not every team is going to perform amazingly every day or every game, but it was one of the poorer days for DRS, only scoring 19 points in the 5 games, dropping from 3rd to 7th, so that's 4 positions dropped. And yes, okay, the top 16 make it into the finals, but I think there's something to be said for dropping that amount of positions in one day. The thing about DRS is they've looked a lot more solid. They've looked a lot more consistent, but they necessarily haven't looked as flashy as they have in previous tournaments. So that's why I think yesterday's games went a little bit unnoticed in my eyes until I looked after the broadcast and so, whoa, they only scored 19 points because they haven't looked as flashy. So I'd like to see them obviously turn things around in a little bit more of a I don't want to say flashy way, but a bit of a stronger, more aggressive way in today's games.
See if things are going to change. Though it's been a quiet start here on the first game of the second day of the Super Weekend, second Super Weekend. So many numbers. I'm not a John, so I do struggle with them at times. Genesis Dogma having to go up against Tang Jiabao. Tang Jiabao are everywhere, seemingly. They're surrounding Genesis Dogma, but this is also offering a lot of 1v1 fights, and Satar is going to strike. He's going to spray, and they had no idea where he was. He was using that tree for cover, and that is going to be a... well, a knock going either way. Nice, about to be hunted down, but Daybot arrives. The cavalry comes charging in, and Longs is going to be frustrated, not able to confirm the kill, but Satar will find his.
This is realistically still in the advantage of Tang Jiabao. They have the player pull the extra man on board to make a difference. It's a nade being thrown out by Manhunt to put pressure onto Sar, holding on to the side of the wall. Nickel crawling his way as a nade goes out to connect onto Long. That's nicely done. Puts him down to half health. Good pressure, Genesis Dogma. Tang Jiabao, why aren't you pushing on this more aggressively?
I don't know. Well, there we go. Satar knocked. The res has taken place though, but Daybot has a lot of work to do. He's first got to try and cover his team. Okay, that car got yeeted the hell out of there, and Daybot now trying to prevent his teammate from getting taken down. They bought a nice up against the
There you
entirety
go.
of Tang Jiabao, but Manhand charges in. Nice might be caught out. It is with a nade in his hands, and Tang Jiabao making quick work of Genesis Dogma. And usually, Imperium, whenever we see Genesis Dogma go up in their first fights, I'm just going to pull a number out of my ass, but it seems like 80% of the times they seem to always win that initial skirmish, always win that first team fight. And this might be one of the few times I've seen them fall. And especially against Tang Jiabao, credit to them, credit to the Chinese team. They seem to have come to play here today.
For sure, much better. I questioned their initial lack of pushing off the back of a double knock, but in the end, once they took down Satar, they were confident to push through. They swept on the side and got the squad life well executed. Phase 2 popped up, went over to the west. I really love Nigma's early rotation in Phase 1. They have a 2-2 split in Cube, but they've had that since Phase 1. Really good stuff. It's put a little bit more pressure on FaZe Clan and their ability to play around outside of South Georgia. Infinity have a really solid setup outside of Everest to the south side. Yes, they don't get as much information to the north side of Everest, but in terms of covering where Stalwart are, where Reject, where BTR are, as an example, on a Phase 3 shift, they are in a pretty bang-on spot.
Infinity, picked by a couple of our esteemed panelists and host to be the winner of the day. Thus far, I haven't really rattled off a single bullet. Very reminiscent in a fashion of yesterday's game, Imperium, where they had 0 kills and 0 knocks and 0 bullets fired till the till the 5th phase or the 6th phase of the circle, and they ended with like some 9 or 10 kills, something ludicrous. The circle is going to further shrink, and it looks like we were right. Again, right?
Well, you called it.
Well, yeah, I'm just good at this. I can't even help it. I'm not even that smart, but I'm just good at this. You know?
Fair play.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
no, you did call it, and it was a well-calculated call, and that's why I highlighted the Q compound. Although it wasn't really a massive squad push, it has put them under pressure. 4 rivals suffering 2 knocks. Have been able to gain control of that compound. That's where I think on Phase 2 it possibly should have been a 3-1 or just a full squad push onto a Q compound. But I think the reason why they didn't initially is because there was never any like massive guarantee that it was going to stay towards Q compound. In the end, 4 rivals did what they should have done, which is push as a full team to gain control.
They've done a good job almost wiping out Enigma Galaxy, staying alive. Just to 1 member. I do believe that was Ralph. Nearby on the bank. Meantime, BTR, bit of a scare.
Interesting wraparound.
I don't think they're going to commit to this, but yeah, Highboy is, deploying a lot of smokes, and for Stalwart, they're like, might be a couple, might be even 3 over there, and that could provide BTR,
I like
you
this.
said.
Oh, I like this. However, Infinity are putting them under pressure as well in the backline, and you, Highboy, can do nothing, just stay quiet and hope that he doesn't get spotted anymore. I don't know how many more smokes he has, but BTR, they need to make a move. They need to do something with this. It looked like they were possibly going for a wraparound behind Stalwart to get a backstab, but in the end, they haven't executed that.
Yeah. Sometimes the best laid plans doesn't quite pan out in Imperium. I've known that the hard way myself. DRS coming in late, and Rico Infinity, they heard them, but DRS spawning out the members as well. Now for Rico, all 4 alive. They're well entrenched behind the plane. A lot of little nooks and crannies to work with, but they are getting surrounded. It's seemingly from all angles. Now, they do have the edge of the circle, but Stalwart joining... Oh, never mind. I take that back. It was Stalwart wrapping up bullets with Infinity, but no. It is going to be Stalwart finally finishing off that 1 solitary member of BTR who was all the way out in the open. What a brave man. Highboy, did for his team, but eventually he will fall. What a legend.
In honor, you go down for the rest of your team to survive. Yes. For those about to rock, we salute you as BTR.
Yeah.
The other 3 players are wrapping around the South Georgia area. It's a very kind of, I don't want to say a scared game from BTR in day 2 of the Super Weekend 2, but I feel like that kind of stopgap is a little bit isolated now does give them an entry point if they wanted to go into the blue across North George and go to the compound just outside of where FaZe is to the west, but they'd have to do that very quickly.
FaZe needs to win this particular battle, and DRS never too easy. They can win this one. Gyalton getting knocked down as well. FaZe are doing great work here despite losing. Sorry, I haven't lost a player yet. Take that back. But the fact that they're able to neutralize DRS, this is massive. DRS are coming in very late from up north, and the fact that FaZe are able to contend with them and take them down, while bear in mind, Team Secret nearby in the vicinity as well. Great work coming in from them. And now Damwon Gaming, the South Koreans, they stole a chicken dinner yesterday. Today, they'll be looking to do it in a little bit more of a legal fashion. Let's find out as they go up against Reject, the Japanese side.
Joso using the low ground dip, Divine pushing in to support Sarah, and then Duello should be flanking around on the other side. An initial knock on the Favian will work in their favor, but Forest responds extremely well with a knock in return.
Oh, I love that little lob. Oh, just the underhand might actually find another. No, it won't. Damwon Gaming trapped inside the house, but they're not really being cornered yet. Favian, he's kind of isolated, but Uni, he's nearby. And if Reiji tries to push on in and try and confirm the kill, he will be punished as Sung finds Divine. And the Hunters are getting hunted down. Duello, last man standing, he's managed to heal himself in the nick of time, but he will be found. Damwon Gaming, they weren't trapped. That was a trap for Reject, and they will be knocked out of the server.
They were trapped under ice and nearly frozen by Reject, but it was a fantastic response for two elements. One, when the knock went on to Favian, they didn't worry about it, right? They were like, look, it doesn't matter, he's not confirmed, he's just knocked. Let's still focus on dealing with Reject. And then Uni going back behind, covering the wall, stopping Joso. That was so integral. I get what Reject were trying to pull off, but they needed to be a little bit more aggressive. They couldn't and shouldn't have let that turn around. It was great response by Damwon, but it realistically shouldn't have gone in their favor, I feel.
Well, sometimes the odds might be against you, but you stand tall. You look death square in the face and say no. BTR. Now, Hi Boy, he sacrificed his life for this BTR.
They pulled off the exact rotation I suggested as well.
Yeah, and they're in a good spot.
It's not bad.
FaZe playing the 2-2 split, and BTR, if not careful, can a member gets knocked. I wouldn't be too surprised if FaZe just pounced down on them. Oh, Infinity Dog, they're getting murdered, massacred by Damwon Gaming, who have suffered a casualty in the form of Sung getting knocked down, but not a confirmed kill. But Uni will now be found out, and this is the problem for Damwon Gaming. Now they're not going to they're not allowed the luxury of taking a fight against just the one team.
Oh
they
my
have to go
lord!
against multiple teams, and in the blink of an eye, it's all down to Favian, and he's out in the open. And Damwon Gaming, what happened there? They just capitulated.
They bit off more than they could chew. They thought they were going to be good with that engagement, but in the end, they didn't really gain control of it enough. And maybe they weren't as trigger disciplined as they were in yesterday's Sanhok game, and they bit too early as MS Chonburi feeling the wrath of a mini red zone from Rico.
It's artillery bombardment incessant. And MS Chonburi, NC2, someone managed to dodge most of it, but now he will feel the brunt. He's able to get a knock.
Don't get the revive. Don't go for the revive. Continue to push, Rico. You got this.
NC2 able to patch himself up as well. SK Ton coming in from the sidelines. He spots NC2, but unaware of Ponzai right behind. And now MS Chonburi might have just turned this one around. Rico Infinity, 2 knocked down, the 2v2. There's no way SK-Tun's going to be res anytime soon, so we leave that particular skirmish. Oh no, we're back to it as Ponzai will finish off Anas. Restigo will be knocked by the nade, and somehow they're turning things around as 4 rivals now all happy. Oh, the F24, he spots them all. They're like sitting ducks, is target practice for him, but he is cognizant of the fact that he can't get over eager. He gets a first knock and immediately repositions himself as Rico Infinity. I think Fidan's the only one to survive that particular skirmish because he's lost the rest of his teammates to MS Chonburi.
Oh, I've got so much to talk about with that fight, but this game goes on. We're in the 20.5-minute mark of this game. Phase 5 Blue Zone is closing in. I don't know how Infinity have been able to stay alive in this manner for so long as some form of a full team, because they have not been in a good position. Yes, the circle has kind of helped them a little bit with how it shifted, but for the most part, it's going to be on that north side of the river. Stalwart, Scry on the horizon, and Zuxi is still left up for their side. El Chapo goes for a desperate move into the water.
Well, oh, Tony, gotta be careful. A lot of teams alive here in Stalwart Esports. Got a little bit of cover, but they're pinned down. They're pinned down for the time being. And 628, if they can somehow stay alive, they don't really have much cover to have a player under the bridge. You have a couple of players on top of it. Not much cover. But if they can neutralize Stalwart Esports over here, they could be in a real good spot to take this chicken dinner. You can see a couple of players knocked down already. The res isn't a possibility in Stalwart, even though the 4 still breathing. It's raggedy. You can see them hemorrhaging out in the open. Top and action need to be res. And Zuxi, okay, he's in the water, so I don't really see him pulling off anything too crazy.
No.
But yeah, Stalwart Esports are getting just harassed by everyone.
FaZe so far have 6 kills and still with the full squad update. Re-converged as a full team together in that compound. The circle has shifted in their favor. Cryptics are down. This is FaZe Clan's chicken dinner. Because yes, the focus is going to be on their direction, but look how every other team around them needs to move in. They're going up against each other before they go anywhere near FaZe.
How is Stalwart still standing? They had 3 knocked just 30 seconds back. And now everyone's up and ready to go. So you said, you know, FaZe had 4 alive. So do STE. 4 do, well, both the STEs,
both
in fact.
STEs.
And Infinity, even though they're a 3-man squad right now, you can never, ever count them out. BTR, don't forget, still in the water. Zuxi doing his very best to try and grab some of the placement points. And finally, looking at the zone, it is finally going to move away from the water. So STE, that is 628, have to make a move. Fortunately, they have Yugang on the other side. So
Lovely
they're in a pretty
shots.
good spot right now.
Lovely shots. Now, Stalwart, they have action and peek inside the water. Free knock on the Scry. Nothing he can really do about that. Lovely mini 14 shots from Tony K. But I really love the control the 628 are pulling out on this river side. It's so underestimated, so understated on how they're constantly moving, pushing, shooting. They, you know, it's like they have ants in their pants, but in like the perfect way.
Listen, I don't know how Ads in the Pants would be good in any way imaginable, but in Param, I'm not going to be talking about what you like in your pants, but we're going to be talking about 628 now having to go up against Stalwart Esports. Like you said, some great work holding on to that particular position. And you just said it's not easy, right? You got to keep moving. You have to be mobile. You have to also be very wary of a particular flank coming in. Now, though, we're down to the final 5. FaZe, the only team with all 4 alive, and MS Chonburi moving on in. They need to make a move. They've found the zone, but they're out in the open, and that car is the only cover they have.
I thought that was a risky but bold play from MS Chonburi. It makes sense. There's already a vehicle there. Sudan pushes in. Unfortunately, 628, they may have moved, but they're now down in the ground with the answers. Infinity finish them off.
Well, and Stalwart Esports, the other STE, have taken over their real estate. Now they know exactly where Infinity are. Nade being cooked by top. That's not going to find anyone. Mela and Logan have moved on in as the zone shrinks in further. Pika is the only player atop, and he can spot Mela and Logan. There are a couple of smokes deployed, obscuring his vision. But for FaZe, they are feeling fantastic. They're feeling confident. And MS Chonburi are going to finish off Infinity, and that means Stalwart, they can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. They know they don't have any neighbors nearby. And down to the final 3. FaZe, Stalwart Esports, and MS Chonburi.
MS Chonburi, they have 1 vehicle that's usable, I believe.
Kills.
I think they can do something with this, but they need to wait until the perfect moment. Easier said than done in this late stage of the game, but if they can wait for Stalwart and FaZe to somewhat engage on each other, they get in that vehicle and they wrap around the underside, it could work out. The one thing that's going to stop them is Beer 11, who's flanked on the outside.
Venturas with his nade. The Grenadier for his team. The second one, no. Fortunately, a couple of rocks will allow action to stay alive. That's the next one is a Molotov, and
Oh,
it's
that's
spreading.
perfect.
Oh, top! He can't even drop and roll. We can jump into the water, but that's not gonna quite pan out for him. Action will fall, and FaZe are playing this safe. They're making sure they make no mistakes. And unless something very untold goes wrong,
my lord.
this one has to be a chicken dinner. A brilliant shot from the Zoom banger coming in from MR5. Ponzai knocked down, and it is going to be MS Chonburi getting eliminated. Take a bow. 9 kills, 3rd place. Great work for MS Chonburi, and it's all on Stallwood. It's all on Pika, the 1v4. Looking unlikely, they're pushing in, and they make a quick work of it. For a moment there, Imperium, it's Stallwood Esports. I've seen them pull off almost 1v4s, but FaZe played that one to perfection. I don't think I saw a single moment where they got too over-eager, they got overconfident. They were just playing the zone. It was favoring them a little bit, but they took advantage of it in such a brilliant way.
Why do you think I picked FaZe for this Super Weekend?
I'm just saying, you're better than the desk. They're going for like Stalwart,
Look,
Infinity.
For sure. And the circle massively helped.
Yeah.
Definitely. But at the end of the day, like you said, they didn't step out of play. They were constantly proactive. They got an early squad up onto DRS. They had a great 2-2 split. They pushed on the BTR, pushed them away, then converged as a full squad. Knowing your limitations while still pushing and making noise and pushing teams back, it was beautifully executed by FaZe Clan. Well done to MS Chonburi. They deserve big accolades for a big game. Infinity consistently showing up there, and honestly, Stalwart kind of impressed me heavily with how they constantly just survived. They just did not want to die. It was just like that survivability where it's like, no, we're not going down. We're not going down, and they got themselves 2nd place. It deserved result.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like we saw a lot of interesting, early mid-game fights, which went the way of the underdog, so to speak, right? We saw Damwon Gaming getting a squad wipe earlier. We saw Genesis Dogma fall. So interesting signs. Again, we're not even halfway through. We're not even halfway through, all the Super Weekends, right? So we can definitely see a lot of these teams really step up and turn things around and start to kind of make the teams at the top feel very uncomfortable.
Exactly. It's so interesting how this Super Weekend is being developed. One quick thing, 6-8. I feel bad for them. They deserve better, but maybe they could have focused on one team at a time. Otherwise, I liked what they were doing.
All right, well, it's time to go to the desk where Jason and the boys can talk about the FaZe Up. I don't know how to do it. FaZe Up, yeah.
I don't know. It's getting really worried that we would get a hand signal out of him that would probably get him fired off of the show, but I'm glad we moved away from that one, and I'm glad FaZe Clan were able to step up here and get a very big victory under their belts. This team who had, I think, 6 eliminations fairly early on. You were talking about, or watching Max, how they took down DRS, but they finished with 12 overall, 27 massive points for this team. And yesterday, they ended up having 38, so almost meeting exactly what they did yesterday, just in one match alone.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to play catch up to the teams towards the bottom, and these are the type of performances, of results we needed to see from a FaZe, from a BTR. And FaZe have definitely been shown up big time into this one, getting also 12 eliminations along the board. And we were talking with Tarzan about how they were playing that late game. Their macro was so on point. They had a 2-2 split early on to maximize information input. Was literally the best position in the center, was held down by 2 players to get all that intel about how teams are going to push in. At the moment they see the circle going a little bit over to the west, they don't hold on to that position because it's going to be too heavily contested. They roam to the compound, and then it's just GG from there on out, Tarzan.
Yeah, I think we saw quite a few splits that could be used as case studies that game. But we've seen good splits, but also a little bit of questionable ones from maybe Enigma Galaxy. We talk about how hard it is to play Cube, and they for sure didn't play that well from the huge 2-2 split. But it's the rise of FaZe and Tony K, the young prodigy.
Yeah, 972 damage, 5 eliminations. It's not the first time we've been able to see Tony K make it here to the MVP. And again, the thing is, to be the MVP on FaZe is very difficult to do when you have players like Beer 11 being fielded in the team. I mean, he's obviously a stand-up player in RRQ Athena when we saw them last year, but it's great to see the team of generally new players at this kind of level of play are able to step up for themselves. But we can see now a little recap of how our Super Weekends have gone so far here in Week 2, and MS Chambari still leading the pack at 84 points.
We're going by faster, Jason, but on to the
Fine, I'm
second
going to open
page.
up my super secret document. We got Enigma Galaxy at 68, we got Infinity at 67, FaZe Clan at 65 points so far in the Super Weekend. Remember, FaZe Clan are chasing the likes of Enigma Galaxy and, of course, Nova and all the other teams like Cryptix, who actually Cryptix is still playing, other teams who didn't qualify from this last week.
Yeah, a 3-point difference happening right now between FaZe and Enigma Galaxy, so that gap is definitely closing up big time. You got to keep in mind, there's also with a 15-game difference between these two teams, so man, they are actually getting really close right now. It's really good to see, but we've seen some teams a little bit towards the bottom. I'm happy that we actually were able to see Dongjia get a few extra eliminations here and there. They're a very good defensive team. We touched upon this quite a good amount of times, but I still want to see this team be a little bit more proactive, aiming for those potential chicken dinners, but unfortunately, they just let things happen, which is not what I'm expecting from a team that's especially coming from China, right? I want to see them going out, trying to frag out as much as possible, which so far they're not quite ready to do.
Well, they still have time. They still have more matches. And you guys at home, speaking of time, have the chance to vote for your favorite players and your favorite teams within the Esports Center. It lasts until December 27th. And if you participate, you can get various pink level permanent items unlocked for you and your account, even though you are one in the same. Maybe you want to vote for the likes of Tony K, as we just saw there. And obviously, as we mentioned some other teams, I want to point out, just for you guys at home, Enigma Galaxy were 16th place at 47 points going into the Super Weekend. But they're now, I mean, excluding this last match, are at 13th place with 114. Like, they've already over doubled down what they had before, which is phenomenal for this team, which really had questions.
Yeah.
But the problem for me is Xavier, they're starting to slip down here. 14th place, 106 points. Teams are catching up to them like FaZe Clan. Who knows what's going to happen? But one thing that I can almost be sure of, at the rate we're seeing these teams playing, Xavier is going to be falling out of top 16 by the end of the Super Weekend. But you're going to have to wait to find out what's going to happen, because we're heading to a break. But when we come back, we got Miramar coming up quick and fast.
Danny, ready for extract.
But this will make it big for Sanhok if they can get the chicken dinner. Now we're seeing a lot more information here. Yeah, speeding up. What? What? He got it back in! He got it back in! Sanhok with chicken dinner!
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Welcome back, everyone. Things are about to heat up as we're going to be heading on to Miramar shortly for the only time we're going to see it today. And then, of course, we have one more time tomorrow before we get back into League play, where it will be Miramar and Erangel once again. But we still have 2 Erangels to go. We still have a Sanhok to go as well. And, you know, Max Ben, you were talking about, you know, some rotations during the break here. I think it was MS Chamburi you were bringing up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Did you want to dive into that again really quickly?
Sure, I'll dive into anything, Jason, here. We got a lot of things to talk about in that game. You know what, but, okay, maybe I said that a little bit weirdly, but point still stands. There was a lot of things going down in that game. Me and Tarzan were having a lot of back and forth conversations about, and one of those fights actually happening was between Rick Infinity and MSC. So MS Chonburi were coming out a little bit late, while Rick Infinity had a really, really strong position to play from. And Rico Infinity got a little bit, I would say, comfortable here, Tarzan, where they thought the north was cleared. They started moving, put all of their focus towards a central position where FaZe was standing. But by doing so, you give too much free real estate to MS Chonburi, and then the fight just doesn't go their way when they had a 4-2 man advantage in that fight. Rico Infinity's kind of fell off this Super Weekend, which is a little bit upsetting.
Yeah, I think one thing with their rotation so far is the lack of awareness to the potential neutral fight. They love point-to-point rotations. They would say they would kind of confuse themselves between a decisive rotation then to unprepared one. Should I say that? So they just go like, okay, let's go there as soon as we can, and they would just say go, go, go. Fight happen. They're not prepared. They lose. They all die. Like, that's not the first time that we've seen it. So many times it's getting almost frustrating.
Okay. I was expecting Max to continue along with that one, but you know, he says he dives into anything, but only puts his toes in, and then immediately like, oh, too cold for me. I'm
Too
gonna
cold
get
for
out.
me, man. I mean, I take cold showers, so I don't know, it's fine.
You're
But you got a lot. You want me to go on to another topic, Jason? I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't
Yeah,
try
feel
me.
free.
Okay, we're gonna go about it. BTR
You're the host
got
now,
interesting
go.
rotate. BTR, despite not being able to make it really, really far into that late game segment here, the cool thing about what Bigatron actually pulled off in this game is that they knew every single point of interest that game was taken. So you had the high ground position where FaZe had a 2-2 split for a long time. The compound then FaZe rotated into a lot of teams just going over the bridge. So you had 628, you had Stalwart pushing into that position. So every strong spot is taken, and they know that their entry point is going to be heavily contested. So what do? Go a little bit further outside of the circle, outside into the blue, wrap around, enter through the riverside, and just try and go for a sneaky backstab position onto FaZe. Sure, they were not able to win the fight, but by doing so, they allow themselves to out-level of the teams, get extra placement points off the back of that, which is good. So this is something I think the BTR struggled a lot with, especially in the first league play. They were always trying things out, even if they knew there was almost no chance it was going to work out. Here, they knew, okay, we're not going to go for a win. Let's just try and get as many points as we can. They were able to push a few extra points. So I think that's a good, still big change of mentality from BTR that I heavily enjoyed here.
You know what? I like how you talked about how they rotate and know what's open or not. Then we need to talk about DRS because they kind of fed the first 4 kills to FaZe Clan. They were trying to... We talk about the need of knowing it's time to fight for an opening. There's no way for you to thread the needle. And DRS went for the typical wide rotation in the anti-clockwise way to enter me from the north or northwestern side. It wouldn't work. There's no ground for them to do that. Like, so teams can try to have that play, gentlemen, but sometimes you just need to read the landscape and think, if this is taken, this is taken, this is taken, then we have to take them away from them and not just try to go in the middle. I think everyone get the point there, but yeah, we need to see more of that.
I feel like the wide rotation like that, especially with some of like the distances we've seen some teams cover, is really like a last resort, because you're like, well, you know, we obviously have been able to scout information out early enough to see that we can't go the way we want to go into the zone. But I feel like that heavily relies then on your scouter, right? The way you send someone forward to gather the information so you can make those split-second decisions and obviously change things depending on the information you receive from your feeler, your antenna player.
I mean, you said it right. Having a good scout is very important, and that's why I thought that this game would be huge for Rico Infinity, because we mentioned it with Tarzan many times, is that they had a good high ground position. Sure, it was across the road, so that rotation was eventually going to get a little bit dicey if they were forced to rotate, which they were at the end of the day going to be forced to make that cross happen. But every single player was looking towards a circle. No one's looking behind them to make sure they're just clearing out the northern edge, and that's unfortunately what caused the demise, trying to take that fight versus MS Chonburi. So you don't all have to scout and look in the same position. Check out multiple positions at the same time. Have one player checking out north, one south, one east, one west, if that's how you want to make it work out. Just to make sure you don't allow a team to just sneak upon you and get a few extra frags here and there. So yeah, it's important, and I think that especially with Infinity can try and learn and improve on that in the next games to come.
Yeah, speaking of Rico Infinity, I feel like we haven't talked about them much actually in quite a long time. I mean, they are at 16 points. They are joint the worst scoring team when it came to yesterday with DRS at 16 as well. They have kind of like fallen off the face of the planet. I mean, they were 8th place at the start of today. Like, that's a really high ranking, and this team we saw be able to pick up a lot of victories before, but something's lacking at least yesterday.
It's a little bit of an all or nothing type of team, right? That when they have, you know, the circle, when they have the momentum going, they try to take everything. But when they are in a little bit of slump, they are still a little bit linear in the way that they play the game. But we want to see some of these teams start to go more dynamic, right? Go outside of the circle if the time allows. So stuff like this are very important on Miramar, and it's important for MS Chonburi because they had a decent game, but they were the winners of yesterday's Miramar game. So let's see whether they can repeat that.
Oh, okay. Well, am I getting confirmation from your side that they're actually? No, I'm not going to ask you. You are giving me confirmation they're going to take this yet again here in today. Let's head over to our commentators to find out how right you might be here, Professor Tarzan, with Ble and Imperium.
I like Tarzan being so brave, so confident in some of his callouts. Like MS Chonburi, yeah, they won Miramar yesterday. They almost got a chicken dinner here. They had a great game in Erangel. So can they do it on Miramar? That's the $1 million question here in Perry.
It is, and I think it's a well calculated shot by Tarzan. It seems like it's been forever since we've commentated a Miramar game. It's been last Super Weekend because we had obviously the Sanhok week with Erangel on the league play, and then yesterday we casted the last 3 games. So it's good to get a little bit of desert action. We talked about how we both believe that Miramar is kind of the truest form or test for these teams and how good they can actually be. And MS Chonburi have proven game after game they've evolved massively, and winning yesterday's Miramar game I think is probably the biggest sign that they're here to win the PUBG Mobile Global Championship.
Here to win, and I think that's something I would like to hear more from, not just us talking about it, but like even our analyst desk as well. Taking a look at the circle, it's going to be pretty centralized, very centralized in fact, one of the most centralized circles we've seen thus far. No one's really going to be too pressed to go for any early rotations. But yeah, I just want to touch upon that fact. Like you have 20 teams here in Imperium, but not everyone has the same mentality. Some of them, like you said, are here to be crowned the global champions, the king of kings, the best of the best. And for some of them, they're just there to be like, hey, if you can crack top 3, top 4, we're going to be super happy. And then you have a few others where they're like, guys, it's just a learning experience, no pressure. As long as we make it to the final championship, we're going to be happy. So the different mentalities, different goals, so to speak, for a lot of these teams.
Exactly, and Down One Gaming, I think is one of those teams that, to an extent, justifiably or not justifiably, have a bit of mentality of kind of will be happy to get into the top 16, will be happy to make it into the finals. I say that based on how they look aggressive-wise. Even though they went out a little bit earlier than they should have in the first game, I was happy because out of the 6 points they got, 5 of them were kills. Compared to so far in this Super Weekend, they've had 22 placement points and only 9 kills. That's a little bit of a heavy difference. And in the league stage, they had 52 placement points and only 22 kills. That's a 30-point difference, right? And I always say the more competitive, stronger teams that are always going to be putting themselves in a chance to win a tournament have about a 10 to 15 max point difference between placements and kills. So with Down One Gaming, they seem to prioritize placements, and that in turn indicates that they are a little bit more of a passive looking to survive. Let's see if we can make it into the top 16 team, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it will only take them that far.
Indeed. I think it hit the nail on the head there. And it is very evident, as you pointed out, when it comes to how certain teams approach the game, what they price. Obviously, the best of the best are the ones who have a very equal balance between the kills and the placement points as well. I'm taking a look at the teams who have, at the standings as it is right now. And one thing that stand out to me, though, Southeast Asia, baby, they're here to play. They're here to play. Top 4, SCA. And look at the gap between the 4th position and the 5th, which is Reject.
Yes.
Japanese.
Definitely. Reject have impressed me a lot with how strong, how confident they're playing. We shouldn't overall be surprised because the players within that team, honestly, in the global stage, have some of the biggest experience in the global stage, going whether it's the 2020 World League, whether it's the 2020 Global Championship, or whether it's this year's Global Championship. Yes, they come from a region that for now doesn't have, it's evolving, it's growing, it's getting better and better, but it doesn't have like the most amount of representation in the global stage compared to Southeast Asia, even South Asia, and other regions. But Reject as an individual team, we really shouldn't be surprised at where they lie because of how much experience they've gathered and they've used it. That's the most important thing, is that they've used that experience to get better, to be more confident, to win games, to turn fights around, and it's been it's been very exciting to see them play in the global championship.
For sure. Like, coming to this tournament, I was doing my little bit of my research as well. And sure, you look at the Chinese teams coming in, right? They came in last moment, and you're like, oh boy, it's going to be exciting. They're going to make things very interesting. And then you look at the SCA teams, obviously some of the favorites. Of course, a couple of them did kind of falter a bit. We had the Mongolians, the South Asians, the MENA teams looking good. I won't lie, Reject were at the bottom of my list when it comes to teams who are going to surprise us or going to potentially make it, right? I was like, they're going to be good. They're going to be like middle of the pack, right?
Yes.
They have been able to hold their own against almost everyone here. And again, you look at it, 154, one good game, a 30-point game. Boom, they're going to be up top alongside Genesis Dogma and 4 rivals and the rest, right? So they have definitely impressed me. And Reiji, we saw that guy on the screens. He, alongside Sarah, have been fantastic.
Couldn't have said that better myself. But as we get through this game, it's a very quiet start because of what has been a very clean phase one. It opens so many doors for easy rotations, uninterrupted rotations, solid position taking. It's getting a little bit congested around the Picado Hill region with 6 to 8 on the kind of south side of Picado Hill overlooking Picado. You have Down One Gaming rotating to the western side, just outside Power Grid. You have 4 rivals making their way in, and Stalwart still in San Martin.
Oh, Sarah. Exposed, taken down by MS Chonburi. We're looking to, they've already hit the 200-point barrier. Looking to get a 201st. Now for Sarah, this is grim. For Reiji to drop down and somehow get the res, he's gonna need cover fire first. Second, he's gonna need a lot of smokes, and even then, he can get peppered through the smoke. So it's gonna be a very difficult rescue mission here.
I don't necessarily get why Reject rotated in this direction. Los Leones, it doesn't make sense to me. I believe a bit more of a northwestern rotation of Los Leones would have been a lot more viable, would have given them a much quicker entry point into the circle, and I think less chance of getting caught out by MS Chonburi. Maybe they presumed that MS Chonburi would be on the north side of Los Leones by now, and if that's the case, honestly, fair enough. But I think that presumption was the reason why one of the players got caught out.
Yeah, you know what they say, when you assume, they can ask you and action. Well, it's rattled off, and somehow not a single one will land on Penumbra. And he will make his escape. Now, somehow, I don't know how they've done it. I thought it was, no, never mind. I thought they managed to get the res, but I take that back. They have lost Sarah. I thought Reiji was one knocked down, and now MS Chonburi, they're pushing up against him. I love this from MS Chonburi. They could have easily just stayed back. They got the kill. They're like, yeah, we're comfortable here. We have lost Leones, the sudden pot at the very least. The zone is on us. There's no need for us to push on further and try and take this fight. But instead, they push up against Reject. They get the 1 kill. They confirm the kill on the Sarah. And Reject are going to be left scurrying away with the tail stuck between their legs.
It's not much, but it is very much about that kind of get off my lawn aspect move from. It is a statement from MS Chonburi. Yes, they've kind of wasted, to an extent, a little bit of time, but they know what's in front of them in terms of directly outside the Los Leones. The phase 2 has shifted up north. I don't believe it will put MS Chonburi under too much pressure as they delve their way into phase 2, because by the time they get there, the likes of FaZe and Genesis Dogma, you can see they're already pushing a little bit more heavily forward towards Graveyard, the Minas Generadas region. So this is kind of very methodical movements from a lot of these teams. I like DRS and how they're playing. They do tend to stay around that kind of northwestern side of Miramar anyway, especially on these kind of circles. So it's complementing their natural rotation style.
For Reject, the long migration continues. Oh, wait, look, they're taking a U-turn back. And that was where Lazy Boy was. Interesting. On-the-fly decision from Recheck. Did they see Lazy Boy evacuate the premises? And is that why they head back? I guess that's the only logical reason I see here.
Yeah, it is. So Duello and Rajoso thought, okay, let's see if we can get a couple of swipe shots. And it's ironically kind of them doing a little bit of what MS Chambori did to them. So the hunted become the hunters to an extent of just pushing Cryptics away. This is standard stuff, and I like that from Reject, not kind of being too scared, even though they lost a player early on. Down one Gaming have to be careful as they move around Power Grid. They have Rico Infinity just in front of them. Lazy Boy, though, although he moved away, he's not out of sight of the fact that any of the Reject players can be near them.
Strawwood Esports again. Taking a few shots in the distance towards 628, but a little too far away for bullets to land. They're going to be playing just at the tippy top of San Martin. They're spread quite thin. Our Strawwood. We'll get back to that later. Oh, Duello. Goodbye. Good night. That was as Hollywood-esque as you could ask for, but a reply comes in from Ragey. He gets a knock, he damages another player, but they're getting harassed. That vehicle, Divine, able to evacuate in the nick of time, but Senkai will find him, and a Japanese side left down to one man. Ragey will do his very best to survive as he tries to battle the blue, trying to make his way in to a semblance of safety. But that has to be the most cinematic kill we've had thus far.
Yeah, it was clean. You could slow that down, add a little bit of music in the background, and it could be straight out of a Hollywood movie. Something that you can definitely watch over and over. Very good play. And this is what Cryptics are able to do, right? That's them showing us what they are capable of as Marshall pushes four Lazy Boys in the distance. Sankei was able to get a first aid off in time to keep himself top. Marshall gets called out, the last player of Reject. Rajoso, no better man to get that 1v1 off in Rajoso.
Let's see what he can do here, though. Oh! El Chapo?
He was already knocked down.
Yeah, he's been lost, and they weren't even able to get the res onto him. Now, see, boys are fight. Oh, man, no. If he pulls this one off. If he gets this 1v4, Cryptics, they have made a blunder. A massive blunder here. Lazy Boy getting taken down by the blue. Ragey has, from a 1v4, he's brought it down to a 1v1.
Oh my god. Look. We're not really gonna talk about it too much because I was already quite heavy on Cryptics in the first game, and I don't want to be heavy on them again. Let's talk about Phase 3 shift. Went over to the east, puts Tongja about, currently have a 2-2 split in a very good spot. I'm wondering if they're going to keep this 2-2 split. I would argue they shouldn't. BTR are also in a great spot of the graveyard compound, and we see MS Chambori and Genesis Dogma getting extremely close to each other.
Reggie had run out of first aid kit, so he's going to try and loot a bit from some of the corpses littering the ground nearby. We'll get back to that later on, because corpses are what Enigma Galaxy are getting turned into. They
eliminations
been a little iffy today. Yesterday, not shabby at all. Today, they've been, I might even say, toothless. A bit of a recreation. Again, day 3 for a super weekend. They had 1 point in 5 games, Imperium. 1 point in 5 games.
And in game 1 of today, they got 1 point. So they've already matched that. They do still have one player in this game. We'll have to see what he can do, how far away he can get from the rest of the teams around him, Team Secret and DRS. Why do they always seem to come up against each other on Miramar? I don't know what it is, but it's like they're magnets to each other in Miramar specifically. Actually, it also happens in Sanhok a bit, but especially Miramar.
Yeah, I guess when you play as many games as these teams play with each other, right? It does. There are so many rotational paths you can take, especially early game. And I guess, you know, you look at the odds, you punch in the numbers. I'm sure John could come up with something here. AJ keeping the player pinned down though. As we switch over to Stalwart Esports, who have lost Scry. We get back to this battle though, and AJ, he knew exactly where Fredo was, but Fredo, even though he was pinned down, able to come out and win that particular skirmish. And DRS, they're forced to just run for the hills. One member, Nemo, all alone.
The reason why I'm kind of asking that question of why do they always seem to come up against each other is because if something is to an extent planned, i.e. you have the information, you calculate that this team might be there, and you're able to prepare to take that fight, and it's an intentional, okay, we want to get close to them. Whereas it feels like with Team Secret and DRS and Miramar, they get close to each other or they interact with each other when they don't expect to. And it's like, come on, we're how many Miramar games in? You haven't done the VOD reviews, or have you? You should know what kind of rotation lines generally each other make. And it just seems like the isolated fight is just who's better prepared in the moment.
Ration is everything, and this nade could be it all. Never mind. They didn't even need the nade there. MS Chonbury pinned down. Able to get a couple of kills, but they're not going to be happy with the way that particular game played out. 13 teams, 43. Still quite a number of players to work with, and it's not exactly going to be favoring Stalwart Esports, but they haven't had to budge for what feels like forever. And remember, I pointed out how they were spread all across San Martin earlier.
Yes.
And now they have regrouped, and now they're going to be heading towards the zone where the 4 or 5 teams lying in wait. And speaking of STs, the other ST is struggling. They're getting pinned down by Zux.
See, a knock has come out onto one of the BTR players. The smokes are being played through. Rolf, come on, you're fine. No, you're not. 33Z picks him off. Nigma go down with a 0-pointer. Man, feels bad, man. Feels bad. The circle shift has helped Tongja Bao. They did reposition into a bit of a kind of 3-1. DRS, their last player going down, another 0-pointer for DRS. So the Scragglers are being eliminated, and for the most part, outside of Rico Infinity, most of the teams have 3 to 4 players left.
Yeah. Reject and Cryptix as well. In the end, I can see at the bottom there, 3 points and 2 points respectively. That was a messy battle. We'll probably get back to it later on. Maybe our analysts can break down that fight, because I want it to be highlighted. Like a 1v4, Cryptix should have easily won. How did it go so wrong? It could be a learning moment, a learning opportunity.
Definitely.
For all the teams and the viewers as well. Here we go though. Everyone pushing on in right next to the graveyard, and Tony K, FaZe Clan, being a little quiet today. I mean, in this particular game. Can they recreate the magic? Will it be FaZe up once more? Although I kind of don't want it to be, because I still don't know how to do the FaZe Clan side.
It's cool. The more you try to do it, the more you look like a boomer. It's so keep on
just
doing
embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, because I don't want to feel like the only boomer. So if you look like a boomer, then I feel a little bit more comfortable. And that's going to be Rico Infinity going down, and FaZe Clan are able to kind of push back Stalwart in a really nice way and push them towards another Team 4 rivals. This is really good stuff from FaZe Clan. They don't need to necessarily get the kills, just manipulate that traffic. It's perfect for them.
BTR. 2 men standing, 1 on the ground. Secret earned the blue, a few of them out. We'll get back to that.
God.
Oh, Stalwart Esports. They just showed 4 rivals for 2 seconds, and immediately they get shift deleted out of the server by Stalwart Esports. So we're right now with 4 kills, and they have the ridge. They're in a great spot. Look at this shift. Look at this shift, Imperium.
Man, like that squad up was quicker than pressing Alt F4. Like that was just so clean for Stalwart. And again, they were facing pressure from FaZe Clan, so to deal with that pressure and then still be focused and coordinated as a team to take a fight against 4 rivals, it just kind of shows what kind of potential Stalwart have in this PUBG Mobile Global Championship East, as of course likes of BTR are gonna have to push it down the hilltop with a lovely nade onto Ventoris.
Bombardment onto FaZe. They thought they were safe because there's no lines aside for the nades. Parabolic trajectories. I don't know if it's parabolic. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff here on the point. I should stop trying to come up
It's a
with
cool
math
word.
terminology.
It's a cool word.
It sounds cool,
I like
parabola. But anyway, it's an arc. There we go. That I can't mess up. And fortunately for FaZe, they've got the res on Venturez. They need to still be wary of Damwon Gaming, who are trying their best to move on in. And with Team Secret now going up against Stalwart Esports, that's a great opportunity for FaZe to maybe reposition or maybe try and finish off the remaining members of Stalwart here. STE, in the meantime, 628, pinned down. And they don't need to move yet. They can hold onto this little cover they have.
Yeah, because realistically, BTR aren't putting them under a massive amount of pressure for now because their two last players are quite heavily split. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run.
How is he alive? How is he alive?
Staying alive. Just sucks he couldn't get those shots off, unfortunately, with the Mini 14.
Well, all right. Luxy, in the meantime, will have finished off. Nothing Zuxi can do to help them out. 628. For the time being, they're just going to be dodging these bullets. No one nearby in the immediate vicinity who can lob in a few nades as well. So 628 can just bide their time. Wait for everyone else to knock each other out. But I like this. They're already on the move. Now that they know that Damwon Gaming or nearby has been eliminated, they know there's no one who's going to be a problem from the lower side of where they're from.
By the way, there's a big fight happening up on the south edge of the circle. It was initially between Genesis Dogma and Tong Jia Bao, in which Genesis Dogma came out on top. Zuxi, the last player from BTR, came in to try and third party this. He couldn't do it directly at the time, but he's trying to third party. It doesn't work out. Genesis Dogma stay alive.
Oh, what a valid attempt though. Action pushing up, using the skirmish to push on in and finish off Team Secret, but Top's left alone. And I gotta say his days are numbered. He can't go for the res right now. And he will be finished off very quickly. It puts 6 feet under this Team Secret. They're looking pretty solid right now. All 4 alive, 6 kills to their name. The circle has kind of screwed them though.
Kind of, but I would argue not, because once they can make it across the road with the vehicles, they can hit the side of that warehouse and flank around. I think they can, but honestly, they should wait until like the last second to do it, because you want the likes of 628, Genesis Dogma to distract FaZe. You want them to be kind of prioritized on the other teams up north before you move across the road. And of course, you want Genesis Dogma and 628 to be prioritized on FaZe and each other instead of Team Secret. So timing is going to be everything for Team Secret if they're going to make it into the circle.
I'm just looking at H-Sir from Tang Jia Bao, and he's centrally located. He is all alone. All alone. Just lying
Too early. Too early.
Yeah.
Team Secret push into the side. Too early. Genesis Dogma can focus on them. That's why I said timing is so important at this stage of the game.
And they're going to use this opportunity. Boom's still going to stick around. Oh, he spots the knee. He spots the knee. Jumper's probably wondering where he's getting shot from. One bullet, just a scratch is all he needs to get the knock. And shots now going to be arriving. Team Secret, yeah. This rotation has been absolutely brutal, but the smoke getting deployed is going to help them out, and now Booms has to rotate, and Genesis Dogma, a 3-man squad going up against the entirety of 628.
And boom! Gets a knock on the jumper once again. Running, gunning. That's the way Genesis Dogma play this game. Of course, handed to them by Team Secret in their initially poor rotation, but Fredo, who stays alive, is able to get the knock on the Booms. That's fine for Genesis Dogma because they've done the most important part. Get into the circle.
Although, while doing so, did Venturez just steal that kill?
Oh, did he?
You know, he did. Venturez just stole the kill from FaZe, and Fredo's gonna be like, wait, how? How did he
no!
Oh, H-Sir, he's got a strike now, and they had no clue what H-Sir was, and now they know, and they will quickly finish him off. Tang Jia Bao, 0 kills, but they do ensure they get a top 5 placing. Top 16, no more.
Oh my lord! And by the way, I've flanked on Team Secret and the poor early rotation, but they still stayed alive as a 3-person team. That deserves a lot of props.
You know who deserves a lot of prop? Daybot. Oh! He's
so
mowing
good.
everyone down, but the kills are getting stolen away by FaZe Clan. But Daybot, incredible work from him. And for a 6-8, yeah, a little unfortunate.
Tony!
Insert, and Tony K, balls of steel, runs out in the open. FaZe Clan, back to back. I dare not say it, Imperium, but it is looking very likely as Tony K, his reign of terror, it continues.
The Imperium blessing is shining a light on FaZe Clan in today's Super Weekend games. Genesis Dogma, they could steal it away. So can Team Seeker. These are three of the top teams in Southeast Asia. Team Seeker rocked it up on Malaysia, Singapore. They rocked it up in the Southeast Asia Championship, but so did FaZe Clan. Let's not forget what Genesis Dogma can do.
ISIL still alive. Still very much alive. You can never count them out. Team Secret, 7 kills. The rotation, considering how dangerous it looked, the fact that all three are alive, like you said, fantastic job. The nade. Oh, so lucky. Tony K, the right direction there. And FaZe, they're now a 4-man squad again. But as you pointed out, Genesis Dogma, those 2 players from afar, they could take pot shots at both these teams. So FaZe, despite having the man advantage over everyone, they are in a bit of a pickle. Unless Team Secret does them a huge favor and eliminates Genesis Dogma.
That's probably the best FaZe can ask for, and with the way the circle is moving in, Tony K opens the door with a knock on the Fredo, and followed by Daybot.
This is brutal. The nade a little bit too deep, but this is the opportunity FaZe were looking for, and Tony K, run and gun, the Dance Macabre, and Team Secret will be eliminated. Genesis Dogma helping them out, and FaZe Clan, they get it back-to-back FaZe ups, baby. Who would have thunk it, Imperium? They didn't even make it to the first Super Weekend, and FaZe are delivering today.
I thunk it. I thought it, and man, it feels so good. Nah, like, look, it's obvious why they're so strong, and this kind of performance speaks for itself. It was a harder game, despite, once again, the circles favoring to them extent. We did see them be put under quite a decent bit more pressure, whether it's Stalwart initially with a couple of nades, whether it's then even pushing in onto that compound to those warehouses, pushing out then onto those kind of water towers. It was quite difficult, but that kind of movement that Tony K specifically pulled out, the kind of use of the balls of steel, it's what makes FaZe Clan so dangerous as a team. And credit to MR5, I'm 95% sure he's IGLing the team, and it seems like the combination of players, and it's absolutely no disrespect to Core Pi, but it really seems like this combination of players, Beer 11, Ventores, MR5 and Tony K, really have it all settled down. The fluidity, the communication, the synergy, it's working very well.
It is, and yeah, we saw, I think we saw both some of the best and the worst. Right? We saw that early fight with Cryptics. Probably gonna have the desk break that particular one down, but then to cleanse your palate after that, you have what was FaZe playing to perfection. You can't take away the other teams as well. Straw, but I think did a great job holding on. And Tang Jiabao, man, feel bad.
I do feel bad, but then again, I also don't, because really they need to learn when to get together, how to really kind of play this game in a stronger way, and they stay too split for too long, and that's what saw them put down to that one player hiding in the back of the truck.
Well, we do, of course, have the desk to break this one down. This was fantastic. Jason, I finally got it right. FaZe up, baby. Let's go.
Well, I think you just kind of jinxed FaZe Clan now. I think they were going to continue to win the entire day until you finally figured out how to do the hand symbol correctly. Now that you've done it, well, they just got themselves 2 chicken dinners. Let's see if they can continue to do so throughout today. MaxBed, you did point something out, though, about their victory. And you went back through the numbers and checked it. What was so unique about it?
What about the numbers? Did I do stuff about or their rotation?
No.
What? Tarzan, do you want to tell us what Max figured out?
Should I just take it away from him?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
So FaZe Clan is the first team to have a back-to-back chicken dinner on the same day. So that is huge given for a team that's just had the first Super Weekend. Let's go.
Max.
You said numbers. I thought I was something else.
I said you went back through the numbers.
I did. Oh, but it was. I was going through the matches. But yeah, yes, it is technically the first back-to-back win in a singular day from a team, and it's FaZe able to get it. And they had such a good play from the very start until the very end. They played Picardo, opens up a world of opportunities in terms of where you want to rotate, how you want to rotate. You go from good high ground position to good high ground position to just maximize the information input, and then they just get the best position in the entire end game circle. But I can't stop feeling here, Jason, that Tong Jiabao had H-Sir there super early. This should have been at least a top 3 win for Tong Jiabao, but they just, once again, they're just too hesitant and they just can't get to that late game stage, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, one player did, H-Sir, as we mentioned. He got to the late stage, but not necessarily the way that he wanted to. And eventually was found out, but you can see top the MVP, 912 damage. Only one elimination, though, but was able to put out some really good damage overall. And I mean, as we did see for Stalwart, they finished at 6 overall points, only getting 8. Actually, they finished 6, but they got 8 points in the end. So not a ton of points, but they did better than the likes of Nigma, who was on 0, but Genesis Dogma, 21. 1 point behind FaZe Clan. We got to give credit to them, obviously, with the stand-up performance they had yesterday. I think being the 2nd place team in points.
Yeah.
No, 3rd place team in points from the day.
Yeah. Daybot also, before today, actually, was the top fragger paired with Nuzi at 33 eliminations apiece.
Wow.
And so they are definitely climbing up heavily, and they're able to get themselves in 3rd right now with 85. But man, FaZe was 87. I mean, it's such a small gap between those top 3 teams, but that back-to-back win is making it just so easy for FaZe to claim that 1st position right now. They'll just... They're a scary team. This is the FaZe that I expected to see at the very start of this PMGC, and they're finally on track to qualify into the finals if they keep playing like this. This is the FaZe that I think everyone wanted to see.
Yeah, I'm doing the quick maths now. That sounds like 49 points in 2 games. Am I tripping? I feel like that's the case. That is insane jump. We talk about ability to take big games. They are really showing that, and the macro was on point as well.
Wait, but that's 49 points across 7 matches, though, because it includes the 5 from yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying it was from 2, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't seem right. But,
No.
they've been able to really step up and do such a phenomenal job. I mean, as we look down the rest of the leaderboard, though, I mean, TJB at 12. Again, they're the team kind of on the cusp of potentially being knockout. Them and Cryptus actually in particular. As you can see, it's only a 5-point difference between the 2 teams, and FaZe Clan are gunning for them. FaZe Clan are quickly close in on this one. And I would say at the rate they're going, they're easily going to surpass one of these teams by the end of the day. And they should be able to get themselves into top 16.
Yeah. Every time one of those teams that you said that are going to be serving as that limit, as that moving goalpost, have a bad game, it opens up a lot of opportunities for your BTRs, for your Damwon Gamings, and especially for FaZe that are definitely showing up for these games today. It's a tricky one, but unfortunately, if you're not able to hold on to those positions and to get some consistent results every game, I mean, that you're just giving a chance to the team to catch up and push you out of the top 16. So, I mean, FaZe already going to make that happen by seeing how well they've been performing. It's a stressful position, but you got to hold on, unfortunately. And the teams at the bottom, unfortunately, have not been known as the most consistent teams. I mean, especially in the Galaxy, have been a little bit up and down, a little bit spooky, right? And not having the best day today, so you got to make sure you just get at least some decent points every game, even if you don't make it to the late stage.
Well, at least for FaZe Clan, they are being rewarded for their hard work, as they're sitting 1st overall within the Super Weekend now. And speaking of rewards, you guys at home, if you guys are working hard, watching all the shows here within YouTube or within the Esports Center, we have the treasure box for you. You can use the points that you're accumulating this entire time to actually unlock a permanent item for yourselves. And there's going to be 2 more boxes throughout PMGC as well. And don't forget, we also have the Grand Finals coming up in January. I'm not sure exactly what will be given away then, but you can be sure there's going to be a lot of goodies for you guys all to claim. But as you can see here now, guys, Erangel coming up yet again. FaZe Clan, can they do it 3 times in a row? We've heard about the 2-time. But can they be the 3-time now?
Ooh. We're going to have to need a little bit of a UG gank experience from a World League last year. We'll see if they can bring it back. But I mean, how they've been playing so far, I mean, it's possible. So it would be great. They'll make history by doing so.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head to a break. When we come back, we're going to head back on over to Erangel for another time.
It's a 1v3 Nova. He's lying his way. He's going to line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is going to be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow.
The holes in the floor, and they were surrounded. So, well done to DXavier there to be able to make that one happen. Nova going versus Infinity. Actually, oh my goodness me! Hang on a minute. It's a 1v3!
1v3 Nova.
My goodness me, Infinity, you got to be happy with that one. A Lone Ranger out in the fields doing work for the Infinities as they stay alive. Nova get curtailed. Dealt with as Pika strikes finally. Moving forward, but around the side, Logan looks to rain in, but no, he goes down. And now it's just Mela looking for a 1 versus 2 here against Deadeye's guys as they push in. Goes low, but gets the knock. Goes around the edge, looks for the spray, but goes low. The weapon swap is good and is able to find the kills. It's Deadeye's guys going down.
As Reject, they're just trying to push everyone, and I'm too sure about this, but they're fine! From the sidelines, alongside Sarrel, they're gonna find 1, 2, 3. Good night, Deadeye's guys.
Money for themselves in the long run. AJ and Renee, they're looking for that second place for sure, and then try to work with it from there. Lift takes massive amounts of damage, but it's Jumper with the double. Sends this into a 2v2 now. DRS immediately, they scatter, looking for better positions. They go wide.
Important that Jimmy is there.
I mean, they get a team wipe, so they don't know there's anyone else in this building. They think it's finished, they think it's done. And already Jimmy finds one. There's another up top side. Looks for the other, and he will clean it up. Jimmy!
To seal the deal, the nade could be good here. Pop standing between him and the chicken dinner. Maybe look to reposition for the fight, but the nade dunks down, and it is Love to stand tall. The man, the myth, the legend.
Sneaking in from the side. He can hear him, he knows where he is, and Manhunt just seems to be tunnel vision on the fact that he's across this little mound, has no clue, he's to his left, and it is
Oh my God!
He's lying his weight, he's gonna line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is gonna be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow! They're going to be holding off the entirety of DRS, pushing in onto this onslaught now. Knock has taken place. Just going to be falling on top. This is a very smart play. Oh no! Oh no, Nima!
Oh, you see from behind side here from Yasna Poliana. Nice. They could move closer. They could try to stick together. They find the revive coming from those stereotypical locations.
Yeah, boy.
So we saw his team drop on by. No, don't do it. Don't save it. The paraglider is useless. Okay.
Mela, though, in a position to maybe receive open arms Reggie in a battle of his own.
Roger that.
Wall does get done. Will get down. Back up.
Help me! Roger that.
Sarah, in the meantime, has managed to push all the way up. But it's the holdout coming through from the Deadeye's guys. Straight through the window. Lands some.
Just starting to make their way outside of Pachinki, which I would argue is a little bit too late. A couple of teams were up to like helicopter! Extended more, and I'm sure others will join in on the mix. If there's ever a time to say, helicopter!
It was at this moment that Nathan knew. He up. No!
Split coming out from Split.
What happened?
Come on!
Huh? Oh no, what the hell?
this flame path going from Primals all the way up to just between hang on a minute. I don't think carpooling is a thing in PMGC. To the side, get to the tree. That's your cover.
Get over here!
And get your teammate involved.
I don't know. I feel like this is a painful situation if you're Satar. Let's see if he has any tricks up his sleeve. This guy's got the moves. He's got the moves. Got the PMGC outfit. He looks clean. He's right over the top of the car.
I'm gonna need backup. Who's gonna go in now? Magic Man himself, Satar. But in comes another player to try and what for. And this time, he's got a gun. Okay, yeah, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, dodging cars is one thing.
Poor Satar, his magic ran out, but at least the magic on his device hasn't run out because he's got himself a 1+9, our sponsor here at PMGC, with its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hypertext technology made specifically for gamers. The 1+9 and iPro are your best shot to what, Max?
To victory.
to victory. To climb the leaderboard. It's all the same. It all is a victory in the end for Chicken Dinners and, of course, a spot into our finals. We are going to be heading to our next match shortly here as we have Erangel to come up next. But I know you guys actually wanted to dive into a little bit, just really quickly, about Miramar and about Reject in particular and some of the ways they played out that match.
At the start of that Miramar game, of course, we expect better from Reject as a team that was known to be really good on Miramar. That one was a little bit tricky. They got in a very close quarter fight at some point versus some players of MSC inside Los Leones. And Sarah got knocked out, which, you know, happens. A little bit of an early mistake. You lose a play, he gets knocked, that's fine. But you got to also understand when a player is in such a tough position that you cannot pull off the res. And that's something that Tarzan and me talked about, is just say you're not safe and just leave. It's not worth trying to save someone if you have the chance of losing more players. Even Rage, he got knocked at one point and he could have been going down too. So that early fight that we saw between MSC and Reject was just a little bit too overzealous from them, and Reject should have known that that was just not worth it.
Yeah. I think that is the comms that we were looking for, right? If I'm talking about maybe vault reviews of players like that I've done in the past, for that situation, as Sarah, you say, I'm not, they are here, so with a ping, and then say whether you're safe or not, and then your teammates just need to trust that. And to be fair, even if they couldn't hear anything from him, maybe it's a technical thing, then they should have enough experience to know that is not safe against the buildings in Los Leones. But that really just allowed them to, continue later on, but still, like, some weird fights through that game for sure.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can fix their mistakes because they still have 3 matches left to go. And speaking of 3 matches, it's time to head into one of those, as we're going to throw it on over to our casters of John and Blink to take us in.
Thank you very much, Jason. Yeah, we're in it for the 3rd game of the day. I am one of 2 casters, and speaking of 2, here's one of the other casters. Blank, how you doing?
It's me. I'm also here. I'm also a caster. I'm doing things. I'm doing work. I'm getting to the game. I'm watching PUBG Mobile. That's what it's all about. Talk about breakfast, talk about Weetabix. What is the right amount of Weetabix? Nobody knows. What's the right amount against PUBG Mobile? That's 5. No, it's not 2, it's 3. Come on, stop it now.
I answered all your questions. You don't have any more questions for me. I am the question master.
I don't know.
That is my title.
You were fast. You earned a lot of money there.
I'm on it. I'm stopping the clock 59 seconds every single time.
Damn.
As soon as that countdown starts. Oh, man. You know what? I would really enjoy being on a quiz show. I think I would like to do that at some point in my life. I'll have to try and make that happen.
Look, we'll get you on a PUBG Mobile quiz show. We'll see how you do. See if you can name all the names, all the guns, all the things, all the places, all the people. And if you can do that, you will win yourself 1 pat on the back. Let's see how we do in this game as we're heading to it. And who deserves a pat on the back other than FaZe Clan? Damn! FaZe up, looking really, really good at the moment. Back to back. And look, Imperium says it's his team. Imperium says he was the only one who believes. But right, okay? We all knew how good FaZe Clan was, all right, okay? It was just a case that when we took it to the dealership, we were starting that car a lot of times. It just wasn't starting, Finally, we got it to drive on over. We were all nervous at the old trading dealers, right? They start the car and like, look, if it starts, we can give you your money back. And finally, Super Weekend 2, the car starts, all right? Just because we didn't believe in it when it wasn't starting doesn't mean it's not a good team, Imperium. Come on, dude. We all believe. We're all here. We're all in it, all right? It's not your car. We all bought this together.
It's a timeshare. I own 20 minutes on the hour. Goodness me. Oh, wow.
Right. Anyway, getting into the game, I'm excited. I'd love to see a turkey coming through for FaZe Clan. That would be fantastic news. It'd be really, really nice to see. But who else would I like to see? Genesis Dogma, all right? You know, I've given this team a lot of hardships in the past, right? I've said that, you know, I'm not super happy about the after party plays, but, you know, they've started to bring those drinks to the party a lot earlier. They're coming on time. They're not disturbing everyone after hours anymore. They're looking good, and they're taking some good fights. And I'm happy with this team, and I think it's high time that we saw a Genesis Dogma chicken dinner. But we will see how that turns out. We get a very central little circle here, John. Any predictions so far? Give me a prediction. Give me a prediction.
The dreaded center of the river circle. Let's go for it. I mean, I don't like it. I despise it. I think the players don't like it either. But I think it's going to no. Well, I'd rather it didn't. I really enjoy the circle. I would really rather it didn't. So maybe I'm hoping for a Yasnaya Fields finish. I enjoy those more. As much as the players also hate those.
Yeah, I actually, to be fair, you know, I'll agree with you, man. I do like the Yasnaya Fields finish. I think it's a great finish, particularly because there are, to be fair, with the circle, with the river finishes, there's not very clear win conditions. With Yasnaya Fields, at least there is some clear win conditions in case of taking up a singular compound on the western side of the field, holding that one down. Look at this, Infinity, they're already across. I like this change, John. Do you know I like this change? Because they've been gate kept here so many times. With the circle going north, they realize, you know, we don't have a lot of time to be messing around here. Someone's going to come along and try and gatekeep us. Let's get across now. This is really good from the Infinity. Happy to see it. Proud of them.
The question is, are people going to guard on that eastern bridge? Because we know that, well, 628 probably not going to be pushing in to guard this time around. You know, reject a little bit closer and probably in the way. Although both guards are in the next circle, so there still is very much potential there. And Stalwart, I feel like they had good time on that eastern side, right? Last time when they had that conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the Infinity, getting on Sosnovka nice and early, getting looted up, getting back out again, that is the play here. And right now, you know, they're quickly in. They've got all the vehicles they need from the North Island, which is a smart move, by the way. But yeah, for Stalwart, some issues have occurred for them. Not as many recently, but still, that is a problem for them getting across that bridge. And a lot of times they will lose one member. We know this is an insane team when it comes to team fighting. But at the end of the day, right, when you're going 4v3, it's not easy. It is not easy. Even if you are one of the best in the lobby, managing that fourth player when you only have 3 is very difficult. You know, you only have 6 pairs of eyes. Oh, bloody hell. 3 pairs of eyes. 6 eyes total. So it's quite difficult in those situations to keep an eye on absolutely everyone, unless you can, you know, be like a reptile and have one eye looking one way and one eye looking the other. But I don't think that is Stalwart.
Or they're playing as spiders, you know, and they've got 8 eyes, or at least 8 eyes. You know,
oh, I can't do that math.
My 8 times tables are rusty, I'll tell you that much, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not good.
I've
3
done
times
that since
8.
year 2.
3 times 8. Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses?
Oh, it's a quick 24.
Oh, good job.
Bing, bang, bong.
Proud of you.
Wow, that is some real nostalgia game right there. Coming from like my teacher shouting out, 3 times 8, now!
3 times 8, I've got a ruler!
That's right. Basically, I grew up in a military camp, essentially.
It's true.
I grew up in Sosnovka.
Yeah.
That's why I like PUBG Mobile so much, because this is inevitably my home. Yeah. Regardless whether it's a Stockholm Syndrome home, but, you know, whatever. That's how it is sometimes. DRS, you know, it's still around Yasnaya. Look at this, though, John. I think this is an interesting change that we might be able to talk about a little bit. MSC, they've actually headed towards the north side of Yasnaya this time. They only have 1 insurgent towards that south side, and DRS is happy to hold on the south. So there is finally an agreement that's been come to.
Seems so. I mean, they've been sort of warring over the Yasnaya area for, well, since the tournament began, pretty much. So it's good to see that adjustment finally come through. I mean, you highlighted it a number of times and actually said that you wanted to see that change come through from those teams. So I'm glad that you finally get your wish. And maybe we'll see a Tongjabao Miramar win one of these days as per your dream.
Maybe the Tongjabao Miramar dream that I had the other day might come true. I don't know. I'm just going to wait for it now. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't.
I mean, Sir was trying his best in that last one.
He
hiding
really
in the dump truck. But
it was, you know, not exactly how my dream went. It was a lot more grandiose with their win, rather than, you know, getting in with the rubbish, you know, getting things smeared on you before you try and take the fight with Team Secret. But I do think that, you know, for MS Trombone and DRS, there is probably, it's a change that has occurred for one of a couple of reasons, right? MS Chumbury, they're starting to realize, you know what, they're actually a good team. I think that's one of the reasons. And they're like, you know, if we can get further to Erangel, rather than just continuing to practice versus DRS in our early game engagements, we tend to do very well. DRS, on the other hand, are like, we're slipping off the leaderboard at the moment. We need to do a little bit better because this Super Weekend has been pretty rough for us. So if it means that on Erangel, which is the map we play the most on Super Weekends, they can disengage, stay a little bit further away from MS Chumbury and get set up for that late game, this is a change that arguably was needed to be made, right? It is not something that was an option for them. It had to happen.
Yeah, it was necessary. But when the chips are down, if they're making those changes, that's good news. That's very good news. And changes in the tables really are what we're focusing on as well for these Super Weekends. Our teams towards the bottom, obviously having played only 7 of the games so far this Super Weekend, they are low on the point scores, but they're doing pretty well. FaZe specifically, they've got a lot of points coming through from those 2 chicken dinners. Obviously their first day, not quite as strong, but to be able to bring that back, come back in strong with the high points totals that they're now putting in per game, they are looking good to overtake our other 1 Super Weekend teams in Xavier being that boundary of 106. With FaZe on 87, a lot of games left to play this weekend. They could be good to even overtake up towards Nova on 126.
Yeah, I don't have the stats page right in front of me, but I think that's like a 12.1 or 2 average right now in terms of point scoring, which is unbelievable, right?
FaZe?
It's really, really strong. For FaZe, yeah. Do you have the numbers in front of you?
87 over 7, what's that? That's 12, and then the remainder carry the 3, so 12 and 3 quarters. There you go.
12 and 3/4, so 12.75. Damn it. So that's a 12.8 average. We've done the math on the fly, on the go. That is a really, really good score. That is a championship scoring right there for FaZe Clan. And to be able to do that over 7 games is beautiful. Obviously, a lot of those points have come from the past 2 games here. But yeah, we were ready. We were ready for FaZe Clan to start a running. And they absolutely have here in this game. Again, though, it's Team Secret that I've got my eyes on during here on Erangel. We've seen a fair few times where they've had good movements on Erangel. And realistically, we were really proud of them. And then suddenly they fell off again. And it was just like, where has Team Secret gone? Get this circle shift, though. Check it out.
The circle gods were like, Yasnaya, directly opposite, actually. So get stuffed, John. Look at this. 628, they moved in. And they will be guarding the Infinity unless the Infinity go out to the east. So this is the decision that they have. Stalwart have left, so they won't have to have combat there. Will Infinity go for this crossing again and get shot at and shot down again?
I mean, it's so hard now with this circle shift that goes so hard down towards the southwest. It gives a lot of time to 628 to just chill here, you know? This is the halftime vibe for them. They don't really have to do anything at the moment. They can just chill in this location. Sending Sunan now out to the north side to give them a little bit of an outpost to play from. Newsy drops down, gets shot at, and you know what? This is awkward. This is once again awkward.
I mean, it felt like it was just gonna happen. There's really no 2 ways about it. Your Newsy moves through, they lose a player. Now what do? Now they're probably going to have to swing. Well, either they try and burst through this blockade, or they swing out to the eastern bridge. And either way, it's a bad time. So I'm not sure what the Infinity's plans are going to be. The Infinity have in terms of their progression, in terms of what are they going to change about this, how are they going to adapt. But it's interesting. Maybe they're going to have to change their drop spot, given that they are being so heavily guarded.
That or move earlier. I think a lot of times they're just refusing to move early. I think that, you know, the symptom of the problems is the circles as well, because we've seen quite a few of them head down towards the southwest side, which again, like I said, is that halftime vibe for 628. They don't have to do anything, and they can prolong this gatekeep without worrying about not getting the circle too early, because not a lot of teams drop down towards Primorsk or Quarry. Reject's been starting to drop less towards Ferry Pier and more towards Farm side, right in the center of the coast. It is interesting, and I think for 628, they're happy to pick up literally a kill every single time, and more than that, they get a lot of control over towards the southwest side of this circle, particularly because the Infinity is a much more weaker team. So they eliminate the amount of teams on the western side with just that 1 kill. It's so cool, it's so important, And, I love 628 for it. I mean, they are currently sat in 153 points at the moment. And they're, like we said before, 200 points is that magical number to get into the finals. So they're well on their way. And to get an extra kill every single game, extra elimination, beautiful. Love to see it.
I wonder how much 628 are going to be punished for this, though, because sure, maybe they're guarding out the Infinity a lot of times, right? But it only takes one team, or like Reject, for instance, to notice they're going there every single time. Why aren't we just Why aren't we just going to sit there and do what they're doing and also fight them and take them down, or get a kill and just leave and go to the next circle? It's to me, it feels like not only are the Infinity suffering here, but it's an artifact of a lot of teams looking to get fairly central in this specific circle right now, that they've been afforded so much space around those southwest Pachinki fields between Ferry Pier and Pachinki.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a fight that occurs so frequently between 628 and Reject. On this particular hillside, we do get our next circle popping towards Pachinki and Pachinki Fields itself. So an interesting finish that we've not seen in a long time in PUBG Mobile, at least for me. This is an exciting one. It's one of the very rare times that we see a circle that is up towards Rozhok that moves down towards the center. So it's not a nasty coastal one, but it is very much towards Potato Hill. A lot of interesting positions to play in. Your Cathedral over here that you can play, which FaZe Clan are looking to pick up nice and early. Enigma Galaxy also here. They're trapped in Pachinki though, and I think with the encroaching amount of teams and the amount of times that they've played this particular circle, maybe they're not ready for this, because right now they are caged.
Stalwart locked horns with Genesis Dogma. Said you wanted
God.
to see a win. Pika, the ballerina, spinning around, giving us a show. We'll stay safe. Certainly looking prima right now. Scribe sends for the hills back to the rest of the team. Says, oh, well, nice moves, Pika, but I am busy.
Well, nice moves, Pika, but I also have wheels and you don't, so I can actually get out of this one. I like that from Pika, though. Like, both the back wheels spun out, and he immediately set himself like rolling backwards in a reverse maneuver. So very cool stuff from Pika there. 628, they take a knock.
He's just spinning around.
Pretty much. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Pika. That was some cool stuff. He's learned about all the languages in the world. He knows several forms of martial arts, and in this form, he knows all the ways to play around this type of circle in PUBG Mobile.
Seems to have worked out. They all stay alive. Back to the full regroup coming through. We'll continue on in this game. Only two teams have lost a player, 628 and the Infinity, have both taken casualties, both of whom were on that southwestern bridge. Not too sure who picked up the kill on 628, actually. I wasn't tracking that one, but Tong Jiabao might just be able to up those numbers. If Bamboo can get a good nade off, that's a little bit wide, has to move back across this hillside. DRS wresting control of the eastern end of Potato Hill. Bamboo now down behind this car, low HP as well. They'll know about it, but that's a one. Is it two? Not quite. AJ, though, running back down to the rest of the team, back to safety, and Bamboo nails it with the nade.
Yeah, I mean, for Bamboo, that was decent stuff there for him. I mean, he kind of whiffed a few of the first ones though, John, which I wasn't too happy about. And I think that DRS versus Tong Jiabao, realistically, that should be a DRS win there. So this is not good for DRS. Their form is looking lacking. Their posture is bad, and they could take some tips from Pika.
Certainly could need a little bit more of that upright stance there. DRS in a fight. Gyalzen does go down on the 1 versus 2. Lom's able to knock the cap. AJ looks to get in the vehicle and get away from this one. Swings around a swift 180. Tries to get out of dodge, but it's shut down again as Bamboo shoots on up.
I do wonder whether this change is something that's occurred because Team Secret is no longer playing with them anymore. I mean, they used to play marbles up towards the northeast side all the time, but now Team Secret, they're heading off towards the western side of the map from now on. They're no longer heading on that eastern side to inevitably clash with DRS, which is a constant problem for them. And now DRS, they're lonely. They don't have their good old buddies in Team Secret to play alongside anymore, and I think they're feeling lost because of it.
Maybe they just really like the letter T. They just need everyone's team tags to start with T that they fight. That's just how it is, sometimes.
Yeah, possibly.
I think there's only 2 teams in the lobby with the team tags starting with T. I have to double check that one, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I think you're right.
Pretty sure I'm right. In come Reject to the Bigatron position on the east end of Pachinki Fields. Divine goes down and another player as well. Duello falls for reject, and so the crash not going well pretty categorically right now. Blank, they're going to need to pick up the pieces as they try and push in. Ryzen up the stairs. They want to try and take control of the building, but Ryzen going to remain the ghoul in the attic, banging those pipes.
I hate it when the ghoul in the attic bangs those pipes, honestly, but beat Ryzen. Hopefully, those are war pipes that he is banging at the moment. Gets a nice nade, though. I think that was onto his own teammate from Regioso, which is very unfortunate.
Okay, Ryzen still on the top floor there. Reject looking for the res as Ragey does get flushed out. Sarah and Duello's alive and up and on slivers of HP apiece. Duello, I think he's in the vehicle there. I'm not entirely sure. Might have tried to sneak away, but Infinity have eyes on. They've clapped the bead and trying to spot out some kills, suppress Ryzen as well in this position. They have a lot of sightlines to be getting on with. But in comes, well, no Genesis Dog, we're not sailing in just yet. They're a little bit over the hill. Sarah looks to heal. Duello still in that vehicle, staying alive. Yuhai pushes out. Sarah goes down. 1 versus 3. They're looking for that final kill as Duello strikes. Yuhai does fall down in that fight. And Ryzen going to be traded off. Infinity are chiming into the fight. Duello, last player standing for reject and finds one. Ryzen's down. Luxy in close quarters combat. It's basically a 1 versus 1. His twin nowhere nearby. Luxy not quite able to give the backup here, and Zuxi back up to the top floor.
Oh my god, Duello somehow brings Reject back into the fight. You know, they've got some real comeback kid potential here. Does have one player beneath him that's still alive, but it's going to be very doubtful that he's going to be able to actually get towards Sarah there, particularly with Infinity having eyes on this fight. They've been surrounded by Enigma Galaxy though, so they will have to fight that one not going their way. Infinity's in a little bit of a tricky scenario.
And look at 628 coming in. It's very, very difficult here. You can see in the picture-in-picture on the northeast side, Rico Infinity team and Tong Jiabao both trying to move in, and looks like Tong Jiabao are getting the better end of the fight, but there's knocks going both ways. We'll have to see how that one pans out. A little bit of a break here on the farm compounds. Sorry, on the Pachinki field compounds.
As if.
2, 2, and 2, all split down the middle.
I mean, that was very good timing for Reject. I'll put it that way. With the fact that Infinity takes a fight with Enigma Galaxy, it gives time for Reject to move across. Luxy has a nade in hand, but opts better of it. Moves on back. That smoke kind of really obscuring his vision, trying to find a position where to get that nade in. I wonder how much damage that actually did towards him, but Luxy walks away. It's back to the rest of his team, but do they know 628's off in the distance? You know, right now, I would say that Bigatron is in the worst position of it.
Well, we're going to tune in with Rico Infinity Team and 4 rivals who swing on around a little bit towards the roadside. Descend towards the southern shift of the circle blank because all of these teams in the north have a long way to go as Tong Jiabao get dunked on in the north.
Southside, this is the place to be. It's right on the field of Pachinki as well, so it might not be the Yasnaya field finish you wanted, but it is a field finish nonetheless.
I'll take it.
Bigatron looking out towards 628, find a couple of kills, but is it enough to keep them in the running?
No real big point score totals right now, but Enigma Galaxy are going to struggle to leave their position. 4 kills, sure, but as soon as they have to leave Pachinki, everybody's going to be looking their way, right? It's going to be very, very hard. It's what we always say about going into these settlements, Blank.
Yeah, honestly, the buildings... Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay, hang on a minute, Sarah. A tidal wave of players descend upon the position, and now it's just Duello. There's no way, really, he's going to be getting away with this one as Damwon Gaming, 2 players down, and a nade in play. Fabian, was there a nade going in there? 2 players down. Sung looks for the res, and in come 4 rivals. Bigatron see what's going on. They just want to get the hell out of Dodge. 4 rivals. Force 628 out of this building. The longhouse is secured. The Vikings rampage down.
I love that from 628. They see the mass movement of players. And they're like, no, that's your house. That's your house. Please have it. Please, sir. We will live outside. But BTR, you know, they've been having to deal with these neighbors for too long, and they're loud. They're noisy. They want to get rid of them.
Oh, good. This line is so pivotal. And in comes Team Secret, Damwon Gaming. Reject. Duello is just vibing right now. He is chilled out on this top floor. Sees the Damwon Gaming going to be locked in combat with Team Secret. Damwon Gaming surrounded now. The Sharks in the water. And the Infinity are busy with Enigma Galaxy and FaZe. Over on the western side, they're not going to be too much trouble here. And it's going to be difficult to hold on out as the nades start to bombard in. Not too much damage seen, but Damwon Gaming are getting slowly eked out. Forest out the window. They want to put these nades back out the windows, but they're just not finding the damage.
Do you know what my point was going to be before all this went down? Is these buildings are so important. So loads of teams are going to be coming to grab them, including Team Secret, who run in a massive rampage onto Damwon Gaming and will clean out the majority of them.
Forrest still going though, goes down, goes low, hits the drop shot as well, just Fredo to deal with, and Damwon Gaming looking to stay alive. He's shoving players out of his way, they're crawling around his ankles, but it's the one he has to worry about that's gonna get him, and it's Fredo to take the fight. Duello though, still waiting in the wings, in the building.
Do it.
They might hear the pitter-patter of reject footsteps, but they'll have to get these reses first.
4 Rivals, another fight that's going off in the distance. Yes, these buildings are incredibly important. It's no wonder that teams who have come over to this side, it's practically one of the only playable spaces around these fields finishes. Now it heads down towards that center side though. So 4 Rivals, Bigatron, they're looking to have the best position, but with 4 Rivals having so many players on board, it's going to be hard to dismount them. Duello though, how has he been alive this long? The guy's a nutcase.
He's still going. I think they know someone's up there. They might have heard those footsteps. Fredo pushes, leads as the vanguard, wants to hit those shots, wants to stay alive, and it's him to find the kill as well. Duello is going to fall. I have to say, I think if Stalwart can survive on the south side of the circle, they might have one of the best spots. It's just a question of how long can they eke out their position here.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with it being so open, Cryptics might have shots onto them. You know, you might see Infinity take shots down that way. FaZe still running strong at the moment. I believe they have 4 players up, maybe 3. Can't quite see on my mini-map at the moment. Like we can see them there in the picture-in-picture. They're going against Enigma Galaxy, but a Galactic Grenade will send them out of space. Goodness me, FaZe Clan will not be getting that third chicken dinner.
Only 1 point as well, and it's light years of difference between the two now. Their performances. Team Secret try and make a break out for the open, but everybody on these inside tracks, this is the problem. You try and make that first move, you are going to have everybody's
Oh my
eye out.
god!
It just got posted in, Postman Pat through the window. Sends him home.
He
and
ate
it. He's down. He's had his breakfast. How many Weetabix does that count for?
I'm going to say that's at least 20 Weetabix. That was an incredibly dense little breakfast that he had to chow down on. 4 Rivals now moving into BTR. Goodness me, right off the windowsill as well. I would have hated to see that one coming my way. Nice nade goes in. Somehow, Soxy lives. What?
That was the rebound nade in and out through the same window to do a self-knock. He didn't even need to do anything. He just stayed alive. Blank, that's got to be the funniest kill I've ever seen. Oh my goodness me.
Goodness me.
Wow.
How does that go in and then back out again? Looks, he's like,
don't
got
know.
a pan in hand playing grenade tennis. Okay.
Look, something is going on with this game. There's something in the water here in the Pachinki Fields. The
I know.
irrigation is wild right now. Stalwart, though, on the south side, and this is their time to stand up, Blake.
This is the time to stand up. They've got a very strong position. Action is down, though, and bleeding out fairly quickly. So Smokes have to get onto those stairs. He has to get up towards that top side to give him that healing that he does require. Action going down will be bad for Stalwart. They know in this type of circle, where it is so open, having the most amount of members alive is so important here.
Oh my goodness me. They have a really solid set of cover here, and the circle moves out west towards them. If they deal with the remnants of Infinity and Enigma Galaxy, they cover the cross of everybody else, Blank.
This is rough business at the moment. 4 Rivals, they've taken a knock on themselves, so they're effectively down to 2, but Action gets back on his feet. Logan from the Infinity still in with this one. And I would say that we have some of our best teams in this final circle, with Enigma Galaxy, though, at 10 eliminations. A really, really good turn of events for Enigma Galaxy, and they have turned it on in this Super Weekend. We had questions. Luxy will go down to Action. This guy sees the bare little brief glimpse of a toe, and he will be killing it.
Oh, he's going to take it down. Ralph's position known. 4 teams remain now. Just popping these shots towards every position available. This is the leverage that I thought Stalwart would have if they could stay alive for as long as they have now. And I feel like it's coming to bear. Yeah, as soon as you see that player, you've got to get that knock. That's unfortunate. Makes it all the way to the new Arcane Crate, but quite going to go down just yet. However, the blue zone will push, and it will not slow for anyone.
4 Rivals, we had a discussion about them earlier, John. You know, they're just a team that trucks and trucks and trucks. If you see them coming at you, you better be ready for that 8-wheeler wagon to come smashing into your face. Right now, the 4 Rivals still looking fairly okay. I mean, they're right on the back edge of that circle, though, so they're pushing to the circle itself. Very, very tough. Enigma Galaxy, like I said before, 10 eliminations, looking very cheeky. 3 teams remaining, John.
The timing on this crawl for Enigma Galaxy was great. They saw as soon as the tower got enveloped by the blue, they started leaving their cover because they know that that high ground affords so much information. A really solid performance coming through from Enigma Galaxy on the micro. Zappy steps up and spots Pika, gets the spray, gets the flush, and hits the deck again. It's clean, it's calculated, but Action has the beat.
Sending nades his way. Everyone's crawling at the moment. Scry's got a little bit of an outpost in the vehicle, being able to see out there. Nades go his way though, John.
Oh, they're just being sent into that smoke. It's suppression really, but Scry's been spotted. Ralph up into the sky, and he will find Scry. Shot him down, and again, looking for that flush. Ralph doesn't take any damage, and Stalwart are losing their players in disastrous situations. They've made it this far, but Ralph's now been spotted by 4 rivals. Looking good to take control here. Action, secret agent Cody Banks in the field.
Looking to get his teammate back up. I don't think that's what we're thinking about right now, but the smokes are everywhere. Appy though, yeah, eyes on.
He's clapped those beads. And again, Action. He's not taking shots, he's spotted. There's the damage. The bullets raining through, but Action shimmies out of the way. Ethereal with smoke. But he is going to get
still going.
How on earth has he managed that? He's going low. He's still got a sliver of HP. Blank, how is he doing this?
This is the biggest juke I've ever seen in my entire life, and Appy cannot believe his eyes that that kill did not go his way. He will not be grabbing that elimination, and a first aid kit behind the crate itself, and Appy's just desperately trying to get into position to find him. He will just see his feet, but that'll be enough.
Oh, is he going to see it now, or is he going to be just a second there? I think Action knows. I think he's just heard the crawling. He knows where Appy is. He can't step up though because he doesn't know where the other players in the circle are. I think there's 2 alive and 4 rivals right now. Action steps up. He wants to go for the shot. He spots it. Needs to hit the deck.
You're
Get away
insane!
from this position immediately. Action taking damage now from the other angle, but he swings on it. And it's going to turn around and finds more health as well. Looks for the healing. There's a Molotov to burn him away, and he has to move. It's the end of the road for Action, and Stalwart take a tumble, but they had a massive impact now. Blank, it's a 1 versus 1 coming through. It's Lord trying to find the final kill. He has the hay bale and the circle. It's all to play for, and up he goes. The spray around the side, and it's Enigma Galaxy to launch off to the chicken dinner.
That was the most incredible game I have watched in a long time. Enigma Galaxy, though, coming out of that game looking extremely good. Ending that game with 12 eliminations, 27 points on the cards there for this team. Beautiful stuff for them, and I think they played out from Pachinki so good. I mean, yes, they get the circle there, but again, I posed that question, you know, you're trapped in between all those teams. How do you play out from that position? And Enigma Galaxy, they make it look so simple. It was just a case of putting those cards down, making the plays, getting to the river, and then it was all the money in the pot for them. Really, really well done. Again, though, Action, I can't believe what I was watching. I really cannot believe it.
That guy is insane. That guy was absolutely incredible. And I really liked what Stalwart were able to do. I feel like maybe they got a little bit too comfortable there. I'm not entirely sure what more they could have done in that scenario, but to get as far as they did, to get so many points on the board, it's great, right? That's exactly what you want. Even if you're not winning, leveraging that great position was really, really well played. FaZe, not so lucky. It's turned a little bit around, FaZe up to FaZe down, hasn't it? From their previous performances. One game, although it has to be said, it was a very difficult task to leave that.
Yeah, it was, and I think that the thing is that, you know, that could have actually been a FaZe win if this fight had gone their way versus Enigma Galaxy. They were doing fairly good, then you have that off angle come through, and that's just what happens when you get to set up in Pachinki nice and early, John. Some great nades from Enigma Galaxy throughout this entire game. This is where everything could have gone disastrously. But Action, being able to stay alive for that amount of time, shimming his way across, understanding that he can't stop moving, he just has a great understanding of how players react and how players actually move in these circles. Goodness me, if there's ever an MVP of a tournament, it has to be Action.
Yeah, I mean, that felt very, very good. But in the end, it was Enigma Galaxy shooting for the stars to claim the chicken dinner. Let's head back over to Jason to break down, well, try and break down the chaos of the Pachinki Fields bloodbath.
Yeah, I don't think we can really break that down, to be fair. That was a bloodbath is definitely one way to put it. Hectic madness, fights breaking out constantly left, right, and center. I don't even know where we want to start on that one, guys.
I mean, you see the circle where it goes to Pachinki Fields. Do you like to see a Pachinki Field finish? Yes. Do you like to play a Pachinki Field finish? No. That's the big issue for a lot of these teams. You just want to avoid it as much as possible. You want to play the compounds that are over to the more eastern side and the western side. So literally no one wanted to enter into the central position. And the only team that tried to do that was Starwalk, which they were able to take home at 20 points total. But man, Nigma Galaxy, those nades were from another realm, Tarzan. They were just so good.
So the micro were good, right? The execution, I love to see them playing at the top level, but it's also a finish at where they know, right? They are a Pachinki team, and we love seeing them making some changes. They didn't go outside, they stayed in. It's not easy to defend it, so it's so good to see, for once, some of these teams going back to the place that they feel home and actually get a chicken dinner.
Well, 4 Rivals, speaking of chicken dinners, could not close it out yet again, unfortunately, but they still get themselves 20 points as well. Star getting themselves 20. But Lord, coming in for Nigma Galaxy, over 1,000 damage done.
How much of that damage comes out from the nades? Yeah, those were nutty versus Infinity. There was even another team that breached on them at one point, which I don't recall exactly which team it was, but they just cleared out all of Pachinki, and Lord was the one to initiate that kind of clear to happen in the first place, because and they had no option, I would say, here, because you're one of the few teams playing from Pachinki. You know the circle is shifting away from Pachinki. You have to aim towards the fields. You have to push out, so you have no option. You have to just clear out all of Pachinki, clear your backs, then start putting your focus into the circle, which they did. And that's one of the hardest circles to try and get a win when you're moving out Pachinki, and yet they pulled it off. That is hyper impressive of them. Now up at 95 points on the second Super Weekend. Man, they are just... This is a complete opposite from what they did in the first Super Weekend. I'm loving it.
You know what? I think this game really illustrates their strength. Like, when we talk about rotations into unknown ground, they struggle a little bit, right? They kind of get stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
But when we're trying to talk about control, pocket control within the areas that you can see, they were doing it extremely well. Small rotations and regrouping around like terrains, and that was a great display of their strengths.
What about the cluster of fight? I can't even name every team, honestly. I think 4 Rivals were involved.
Yeah, I have
Megatron was involved. What? Huh?
So
just what?
So just to say all the teams that were there. So you had 628, you had 4 Rivals, you had BTR, you had also Reject, you have Team Secret, and you also had Damwon. That was how many teams were over there.
It might have been easier just to name the teams who weren't there, to be honest.
Oh, true.
That many who were fighting it out. I mean, ridiculous, but we can see it really quickly. We'll get back to that. Our overall standings. Infinity still leading the way at 233 points with 4 Rivals right behind them at 215. Again, 0 chicken dinners.
The fact also that they got so many, I have to check exactly the numbers for their placement points, but they were, I think, 10 placement points away from Infinity at the start of the day. Also keeping in mind that there was so many more chicken dinners going the way of Infinity, whereas 4 Rivals have none, so they just show the extreme consistency of 4 Rivals, but still not quite able to get those wins, which I'm hoping will happen. I mean, it's not even I'm hoping, it's going to happen one day eventually. Don't quote that in like a week if it doesn't happen, we'll have to see, but on the second page, we're seeing Damwon still struggling to get the results they desperately need right now.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, Tarzan, the victory they had yesterday, the amount of points they got from that versus how many points they got over on the day. I mean, it basically just came from one match.
Yeah, but that is so important, like, for some of these teams. It's, yes, you can say, hey, it's all just that one game, but what it allows you to do mentally, I'm going to use this term, you can mentally pop off, basically, and that will allow you to go up very, very far. And right now they are making sure that they have at least one games like that every day, and that is going to help them so much.
Yeah, and now can we go back really quickly back to that cluster of a fight that happened? I mean, honestly, like, best case scenario, you come out of it alive, but you're still not going to have all 4 players alive generally.
That's actually why I liked how Team Secret tried to play it. They wanted to try and avoid that entire cluster. I think they sent eye shots wide at some point to try and potentially get the better angle, because you know that the circle that shifted after that big cluster was centralized into the field. So all of the buildings from both Pachinki and also the buildings that were onto the eastern side of Pachinki here, fields, were not going to be in circles. So it was a good play to try and go into the circle, wait for the fights to happen, and just pick up the pieces here and there for a few teams to try and push on you. I think that was a good idea, but it's so hard to break down because it's down to how good your communication is, how good your individual gunplay is, and if you're the team that has the best individual gunplay, then you're going to win out of that fight, which at the end ended up being 4 Rivals, which is a very good aggressive team that's not scared to take those fights at any point in time, which I think is great, but you're going to lose a lot of members, right, from being in those type of positions, and it makes it super hard to take the win. I think it was down to a 1v1, v2 at the end, which got really tricky, but yeah, circles like this, not fun to play, but great to watch.
Well, hope you all at home, yeah, great to watch. You've been enjoying what you've been seeing so far. We still have the treasure box going on currently within PUBG Mobile, within the Esports Center. As long as you guys are watching either there or over on YouTube, you're collecting currency that you can use to unlock one of 3 permanent items. I know Maxman's still working towards his first one. He's going to rub it in all of our faces when he gets it unlocked. But you know what? I feel like you should rub it in our faces when you do get that one done and behind you. But as we talk about being behind us, well, we have 3 matches today there. But we're going over to Sanhok. Things are going to get very moist. Things are going to be heating up. And honestly, we can't predict who the winner will be. But what we can predict is we'll be back shortly after a break.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
Yeah, hopefully you guys are there supporting and voting for your favorite teams. Maybe one day we'll get the casters in there, but I really don't want to realize that I'm probably like the least favorite and least liked caster talent. So maybe scratch that. Yeah. We shouldn't do that. And I don't need Max or Imperium to rub it in our faces that they are the most liked. But maybe I'll try harder to convince people to not like you too. But it's impossible. It's really difficult. Just like Sanhok. Being consistent on Sanhok is extremely difficult, though we have seen in the Infinity be very good at it over the course of these 2 weeks. But again, it's the only time we'll see it in the day. We'll only see it 3 times in total when it comes to Super Weekends. And we won't see it in League play anymore because I believe it's just Miramar and Erangel again next week.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be going through, so we'll see how things are going to pan out. But if there's a team that would like to see get a win here, it would be BTR. Seeing how dominant of a day we had from FaZe to get himself the 2 chicken dinners back-to-back on the Game 1 and Game 2 of today. They got really close, but unfortunately Sung from Damwon was able to snatch away that win, take himself that 1v2 to get himself the chicken dinner. So if BTR, if there's a map that they can get a win, seeing how good they were on it yesterday, I think this could be the map. And Zuxi and Yuhai being so impressive in terms of overall stats, in terms of how many frags they get and how much damage they've been dealing in the lobby. I think this is a map that just suits that playstyle, especially with the new addition of the teams that they have been going through.
You know, this is surprising here, seeing most damage in the last match. I feel like we've just generally seen Zuxi be the top player for the team for, I want to say a majority of this event, but I feel like it's kind of, well, I mean, obviously the stats don't lie, right? It is true. He has been the best player for the team, but I feel like it really like underestimates how strong Yuhai Boy is with the team as well.
He's been doing so much important work. I think when he tried to help down like the solo plays in the week before, it really showed how he can be very tenacious, and the team can pick up something from that. So obviously we like talking about players and their fragging abilities and all that, but from time to time, I have to bring it in, like the enabling factor. Sometimes it's the more mentality side of things, whether you can be a good communicator within a team, whether you're the one who picked them back up when things go a little bit rough. And I think right now it's really these that are making the changes. We're halfway through the day, actually more than halfway through, but halfway through this Super Weekend, and arguably all the matches that we're going to have, gentlemen, for the Super Weekend. So this is a breaking point, I think, for some of these teams to see whether they have what it takes for the longer run.
You know, I got a topic we can discuss, and I'm kind of having flashbacks to last year, actually, with Liquid. Yeah, let's get our hands up and start to think about this, right? If you're BTR, okay, Tarzan's not doing it, but that's fine, we'll go on without it. If you're BTR and you're such a big brand name in Southeast Asia, and the stars on your team have been known worldwide for such a long time, I feel like, and we talked about this last year, is like when you bring Liquid in, do you force him to play your play style, or do you allow your team to play around him a little bit more? Like, do you force him to slot into your team the way you want to? Now that they're running with even more people, you know, with having U-Boy on the list as well, I wonder if Zuxi, Luxi, and Ryzen, and again, this isn't a judgment of like ego or anything like that, not meant to be negative anyway, but I wonder, do they ever take that time to be like, okay, maybe we should take a step back. What we've been doing this last year or 2 years hasn't been working out like it did previously. Maybe we should focus the team around U-Boy or around Liquid and play around the way they want to play to help facilitate them to perform to the heights that we know they can.
When you look at BTR back in the end of 2019 until now, I think that BTR has always been a team very stuck in their own ways, not willing to adapt. But I think that has completely changed this year by having new additions. You mentioned it there. You got yourself Liquid, that joined in at the end of PMGC last year. You also have Yuhai. And I think those perspective is what's going to help BTR level up. Of course, that takes time for that to happen, but I think that them staying as the same roster, which with Ryzen, Microboy, Luxy, Zuxi, was going to hurt them at the end of the day. Those changes, I think, are huge for them, and U-Boy is helping them actually get some really good points. So I think those additions are actually helping out to understand, okay, there's different ways to play this game. We can still play our playstyle and how we go aggressive or how we rotate in terms of macro, but I think those perspective has helped them out a lot, especially to qualify in the second Super Weekend, as U-Boy has been a big reason of their success so far.
Okay, well, maybe we can dive into that a little bit more after we see how it performed here on Sanhok, but now it is time to jump into that map. I'll throw it back over to John, Allen, and Blake.
Time for a little bit of chaos over on Sanhok. Well, I mean, we saw plenty of it in that last game, but I'm hoping for a little bit more. Blank, it was an exciting game, certainly, to watch, and with some great results as well. Some excellent viewing experience coming on through. Blank, you feeling good about this Sanhok?
I'm feeling good about the Sanhok. Hopefully we get a couple more of those rubber chicken moments that we saw last game, because those were crazy. Those were seriously, seriously crazy. So interesting to watch, but we are heading over to Sanhok. And it's weird that we come from an Erangel game where we're like, that was ridiculous. And we come to Sanhok where we expect ridiculousness. But I want these players to calm it down a little bit. That was a little bit too much for me last game. You know, my heart's beating, the blood's pumping. It's been 10 minutes, I've had a relaxation time, but it's still not going away. Maybe that's just because I'm unhealthy, I'm not sure.
Caster heart rate monitors when, you know?
Yeah, I know, that's what I need.
That's what we need. See how that goes. Drops coming through on Sanhok. Fairly northerly playing path, but again, Sanhok is very small. Everyone should be able to drop wherever they want. The Infinity have left one of their players dropping out fairly late there, and actually over towards Mongnai and very near to DRS on the northeastern side. And 3 teams currently occupy that northwestern island as well, with a central circle drop.
I mean, this is very, very similar to what we see most of the time with the Infinity, which is this 4-man split over the north side of the map where they get a lot of information through and they can start to sweep down towards the south side. We've seen them head up all the way to Cow and then sometimes just drop there as a 4-man unit. So I'm not sure what the difference maker is for them. Soon now, though. Nice spotted pop.
He spots him indeed and takes the kill as well. Early first blood. Oh, beg your pardon. Early first blood.
Beg your pardon.
On the northwestern island. Coming through, and MS Chumbury lose one of their players.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about MS Chumbury, but this is probably not the best time to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is not the team I thought I would see 205 points at this point in the tournament, to be honest with you. You know, they started very, very slow, and there still hasn't been those massive moments where I thought to myself, damn, this is a really good team. But MS Chumbury's making it happen. Still, more ridiculousness coming through with these early shots coming on Sanhok, which is to be expected. But again, it's so weird coming from such a fast-paced Erangel game to here on Sanhok and getting it all again. Either way, it's exciting.
Yeah, and they've managed to surpass that sort of 200 point benchmark that I'm personally looking at as a fairly safe place to be, not just in this Super Weekend blank, but for qualifying to the finals, right? So the fact that they've got 205 points on board means that the lion's share of their work, or the Sharks' share of their work, if you will, because that's a funny reference to their logo, is already done, blank. It's already been completed. So that is great news for them. Tongjabao and Cryptix, though, both not quite so lucky, and both taking some early knocks here.
I like that from Lons there. Sir's watching the entire time. Oh, God, man, hand goes down. Sir's watching the entire time, and then Lons is like, I will take the shots. If you're not going to, I would do it. And then Sir's like, well, no, I was going to kill him. I was going to kill him. Promise. And then takes the Vector
That's
out.
my point. Oh,
that's my point, bro. Come on. Cryptix, they start to move away from the party over towards that. I believe that's the western side of the cave at the moment. So they're looking all right. They're still on that bridge, though. So BTR might be able to get some shots over towards them if they would like to look in that direction. FaZe had a very big split towards the beginning of the game, down towards Quarry and up towards the top of Boot Camp, but they're starting to bring that back together now.
Reject on the south side of Boot Camp. Painan occupied by Bigatron as well. So that crossing for the southwestern teams maybe a little bit more controlled here. Damwon Gaming and Enigma Galaxy, our previous games winners, going to be looking to get across probably at some point. It's unlikely that this circle finishes on this southwestern island. If you're a team on that southwestern island, do you have an ideal location that you're going for in these next circles? Or are you looking... Oh, that was a self... I just saw that replay from Reiji. That was a self-knock from the nade. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about last game. It was a case of that Regiosio. I think he knocked himself. But that's an unfortunate one where it banks off the top of the stairs. There's not really much you can do about that situation. Very awkward because it trails down the stairs afterwards and takes you out regardless. It's not easy to get away from. On that southwest island, I think Ruins is a really nice place to be, especially around Tambang area for Damwon Gaming. You know, it's a good place to set up. You know, you have those sight lines down towards the southwest bridge as well. Lon's taking shots from Genesis Dogma, who have been fairly quiet so far. You know, I want to see a little bit more out of this team. Still 209 points, very safe at the moment. So, you know, they can calm it down if they want to.
Tongjabao, again, just taking these fights. They are not letting each other lie here. Lazy Boy pushes forwards. El Chapo wants to get some backup there from Lazy Boy. Wants to send up the top of the ridgeline as well. Nades looking to be cooked out as well from behind the rock and sends out wide. Senke falls. Lazy Boy gets a heal off. Bamboo pushes forwards. No flanks to come in, and they will all fall. It's Cryptix getting taken down, but Genesis Dogma, they've had eyes on this fight the whole time.
Yeah, they're hot on the trails. I think Lons is not likely to get back up again. Already knocked earlier on, so he is bleeding out fairly quickly. Tongjabao should be up to 2 players, but that's about it. But yeah, Genesis Dogma, after party, they're back in this one. They're looking to pick up some extra kills from that fight, and that's fair play, especially with the amount of information they now have. When it's 2 teams fighting, if Genesis Dogma has been doing their research, they know that, you know, there's realistically only 2 teams here. Tongjabao as well as Cryptix that play in this location. So if they can control the entirety of that southeast side, it's happy days for them.
Okay, Rico Infinity team spot out Beer 11 from FaZe Clan. And FaZe lose one of their players. A very strong player at that as well, so they're down to 3. When these circles drop right in the center blank, it feels like there's a lot more fighting that happens in these first 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's not ideal for a lot of teams to stay in the same place. Here comes Genesis Dogma once again. This is just kill after kill after kill. Already down to 55 players in the lobby. One team's already out, and we're barely 6 minutes into the game. So very, very cool stuff here. Genesis Dogma doing their darndest to clear the southeast side. But you are right, John. When we drop center, there's no real location that anyone on this map can hold on to. I think the only place that is very strong would be Stalwart in Boot Camp. You know, FaZe Clan no longer dropping in that location anymore to fight out against Stalwart. They realize that they're losing that fight too many times to them, so they'd rather just try and get some more points here on Sanhok. But already not starting out well for them after they changed their spot. Genesis Dogma will finish out that last player from Tongjabao. They do get 4 elims though, so a decent amount of points from Sanhok. It's not the best in the world, but at least you won't go out of this game feeling too hard on yourself.
No, I mean, it's not ideal, but you'll take it, right? FaZe Clan nipping at their heels, though, on the points totals. You could see 89 points to, I think it was 120-something. I didn't quite catch that, actually, towards the end there for Tongjibao. So the fact that there's a team on one Super Weekend that close up to your backside, it's not comfortable. And so you want to be getting a little bit more of an acceleration on, right? You want to be getting more than those four points. So even though it's a decent result, it's not really what they're looking for to try and get a little bit further up the tables.
Yeah, and I think Sanhok's probably one of the few maps where Tongjibao can start to get those points and run away with it from FaZe. Who tend to have a lot of difficulties on this map. You know, they've moved out from bootcamp, but now they have to deal with Rico Infinity Team, who've moved down from Paradise Resort. Nadenhen for Tony K throws it in towards that play on Rico. SK Ton just about gets away from that one, though.
Look at Fidan as well, repositioning. They want these off angles, and a nice nade put in behind finds one knock, and Vintorez with the backup, and As on the flank might have been spotted out there as well, as FaZe have a pretty commanding position on the top of this hillside, and As moves through, probably feeling pretty safe, but no, he gets cut down. They are going to strafe across, and it's going to be good news for FaZe on 3-player standing. Moving up, they want to try and control the rest of this hillside as well. They know where these knocks are coming through, but Tony gets shot at. Fidan stops them on the back line, and they lose yet another player. This is really not what they were looking for, and 3 players now standing and alive for Rico Infinity Team. It's turned around.
Yeah, I mean, if these 2 players from FaZe can clean up the final players from FaZe, from Rico Infinity Team, they will be in good steading, because that southeast side, that northeast side of the map, extremely clear at the moment, as other than the Infinity, who's up towards that north side. So FaZe will be able to just chill, hang out for a long time, and it will be fairly comfortable. But again, you do have to get rid of these final players from Rico Infinity Team. Already a knock comes through from Vintorez, and now it's down to MR5 and Vintorez to finish this one out. Not the players that you would put a lot of the highlight on. I would say that Tony K and Beer 11 would be the ideal duo, but this is now time for MR5 as well as Vintorez to really show us what they're made of.
Seems to have a split either side. There's a crossfire, but they are really at risk. And there we go. Fidan goes down first there. MR5 able to do it. There's a bridge camp going on for Dan1 Gaming as well in the meantime, as Ponsai goes down and gets flushed out. MS Jonburi, they're getting picked apart. They are just not finding these fights. And look at this. Vintorez up for one. Looks for more. SK Ton finally finds it, but MR5 wants retribution. SK Ton last standing, low HP, is going to be worried as well. MR5 got a knock on one of his teammates earlier, and he is looking to actually move into this fight. They want to continue to take this. They know that there's only one still standing, and MR5 cooking the nade, wants to pop it behind the tree, looks for the angle, doesn't quite know where to find it, and behind the building, that's not going to be quite right. Looks for more nades, looks for more stims as well, but top. Oh dear, Stalwart, they are descending from the top of the hill, 4 players strong. They were angry about not finding that final win over on the Jinky Fields finish. And they want to just ruin everyone else's day now. Rico Infinity Team, they're going to suffer it. SK Ton last standing again.
I think for Stalwart, it's a very obvious fight for them. It's like, well, FaZe aren't here, so where else can they be? They have to be in this area. There's not many other places that are clear on the map to drop in. So let's just head up towards the top side and take a fight with them. It has to be Rico Infinity Team. This fight has been going on for so long that Rico Infinity Team, they must be weak as well. So it's a very good call from Stalwart to move up towards this north side, considering that the circle is very central and bootcamp is actually looking like quite a juicy position right now. So I am actually extremely happy with the way Stalwart played that out. You know, it was very well calculated. They thought about what was going on, why Team FaZe hadn't dropped on them, where they might be, who they might be fighting. A very, very good result from Stalwart, and that comes from like knowing the game and knowing the tournament. And you got to put it this way: is that we have been speaking to Stalwart as having one of the best team fighting abilities within the lobby. But not only that, they are a smart team, and that's shown right here.
Very, very good stuff. I mean, they started this game on 169 points blank, so they have already done a lot of work in these super weekends, looking like they're making the right decisions here on Sanhok. And actually, they head back south towards the north side of bootcamp. So it feels like your call on what their decision-making process was, it feels accurate, right? It matches up to all the evidence that we're being supplied with. The Infinity's still further out northeast of them, though.
Yeah. One thing that we have to quickly talk about, John, there's 11 teams left. 11 minutes.
No, wait.
So
no, that isn't a lot of teams. I take that back.
Yeah, there is a very little amount of teams considering we're only this far into the game. It's incredible to see, and this has been to be fair, we've seen so many Sanhoks from the East League where they've been extremely quiet. Not very much how we would usually see this come through. And right now, this is more of a usual seeing on Sanhok, where it's very chaotic, a lot of fights coming through. 4 rivals going against Stalwart, and they just crumble under the pressure of this team. They've taken shots from Reject beforehand, so they're only down to 3, but Stalwart happy to pick up some additional points here.
I don't even think that they've taken a tick of damage there against in this fight in a full versus a full 4 team, and not only a full 4 team. Blank, one of the best teams in the tournament, 4 rivals. They just wiped them right there. I mean, they haven't been they haven't been fully wiped, sure, but like their presence in boot camp. They went out north, dealt with their northern threat, came back to boot camp, and just said, "Hang on a minute, this is ours. What are you doing here? You can't stay here.
Get out.
You can't
get
stay
out
here.
of here.
That's not okay."
I think for 4 rivals, it was a very awkward push for them, to be honest with you. Reject also had eyes on, so it was a stressful time. And it's sad for Appy because he was barely in the water, got knocked, but obviously if you get knocked in water, you just immediately drown and die. So unfortunate stuff overall. Reject, though, a team that I have been so happy to watch so far. You know, it feels like a wealth of experience, like Imperium said before, is been drawn upon right now for this team throughout the entirety of tournaments that they've managed to make it into, but not get too far in. But in the East League here, they're really making a name for themselves. And I think Reject can be extremely proud, considering this is such a long-standing team that keeps fielding these players, keeps sending them out to these tournaments, keeps supporting them. And it's very similar players as well. It's people that we see time and time again. I think Japan has actually found a winning roster here now, and I am extremely pleased to see it.
158 points in the games that they've played so far, Blank. It's very good news for the Japanese region and for the Japanese hope as well. 158 is a really good score to have over 23 games. Obviously, when you add on that 1, you get 159, which of course is slightly greater. But either way, they've had a really great run. You're right. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what not only they can do in the rest of this tournament, but what they can continue to do, as they seem to be a fairly consistent roster, as you say. And that's something I really love about that roster in general, is that they have stayed together. You see a lot of, you know, changes, a lot of chopping and moving around, but I mean, we always see Reiji on this roster, right? And it's a name that I love. I love casting. I love casting this guy. He's been there for so long, and I feel at home whenever I see his name come up on the screen.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got so many good names on that team. You've got Sari, you've got Divine. You know, we really do have the cream of the crop from Japan here coming into Reject, and they always field these players. Look in the circle, though, down towards the south side of boot camp on Painan. So BTR happy with this one. Don't have to move too much for the time being. Enigma Galaxy on that southwest side. Can't really count these guys out anymore. I mean, they have been playing more how we see them play in the league play in the Super Weekend now, which is good to see. You know, they've somehow been able to realize that playing against 16 consistent teams over 15 games, actually that usually is easier than playing against, you know, a different set of teams every time, where you've got to kind of figure out your drop spots, think about what everyone's doing in the lobby. It gets a little bit awkward. Here you can just rely on that pure skill and understanding of where people are playing.
Mafia Ninja
God,
spots.
Stalwart, stop!
They're taking on 628 now, and doing well by the looks of things, but Infinity have problems of their own. Mala moves up, doesn't go down, but there's the off angle as well from Nima to find 1 and 2 as well. Good rattles coming on in. That'll shake the crib. 2 players now left for Infinity. Newsy has the M24. Not going to pop those shots just yet. In the meantime, though, on the southeast side, it's Team Secret and Genesis Dogma. Satar tries to go in and out, but he gets shook all about by those bullets raining into the body. Not going to be a good time for him. Goes down, gets flushed. Daybot down as well. Not going to get rezzed just yet, although they are trying their darndest. Genesis Dogma Booms moving up to the top of this hill for an off angle.
Yeah, Nickel still alive for the time being. Looking to see what he can get done there, but I don't think it's going to be fair too much. Booms has got some great off angles for the teams every single time. Nickel gets back up to full HP, tosses that Molotov, won't go anywhere. You know, I think he's flustered right now, and that would be the only thing I can think of.
I think he's trying to stop people jumping out, either just make his life easier. Hang on a minute, there we go. Was that Booms chiming in? I think it was. Sniper from the heavens. Mordecai doing the work. trying to keep them alive. Bigatron finally left by Narn. They moved up to the compound that Reject currently holds, and they found out all about what makes Reject so strong, the Japanese team that we've been banging on about. But unfortunately, there's nades sent back that way. Is this Stalwart coming in to fight it as well? The nades go back and forth. 2 players from Bigatron go down as they try and cross the road, and Divine falls. Reject get crunched. Okay, I didn't think it would go like that, but Stalwart chime into the fight. There's teams on the north side as well. Everybody wants a piece.
Stalwart's fighting Reject and Damwon Gaming at the same time. This is unbelievable showings coming through from the guys from Stalwart at the moment. This is a ridiculous game. They're already on 9 elims at 17 minutes. This could be one of the biggest kill matches that we've seen in a long time, John.
They just need to keep on making it, and with 4 alive, with the number of kills they've got, they're going to have a lot of supplies on board if they've been looting up, if they've been moving through for those boxes. So many elims already are right on the cards, and only 3 other teams have 4 players alive, Blank.
Yeah, and they're in a really strong position within this circle towards that northwest side. They're in a position to hold out 6-8. Have had to move from that strong compound that's just on the rivers. Now they're on the bank. That's a cheeky play coming through from Kid there. Doesn't quite manage to make it happen. Looking for that final player from Genesis Dogma. I believe Booms might just be off in the distance as well. Yes, he is.
Pushes out. Kid wants the fight here. And actually, Jumper burns himself? Question mark. Kid now in a 1 versus 2 as Booms descends from the hillside. They're going to have to leave. I think Jumper's done for. Kid, just get out of there. Try and stay alive. And Booms is going to start posting nades through the window to try and keep that pressure up. It's not going to find the first. The res, I don't think is possible here. Kid swings out, finally going to get eyes on. Takes some damage, though, for his trouble. Moves out into the road and gets shut down. And it's going to be the end of Team Secret there for their run in this Sanhok. Stalwart get the next circle.
This is great work from Genesis Dogma. Action goes very low, 6-8, not quite able to make it happen. And up this hillside, it's going to be really rough for them now. 6-8, basically kings of the hill. How do you dismount these guys? I do not know. You're going to have to be one hell of a warhorse to buck these guys off this mountain.
DRS to the east, 6-8 to the west. Damwon and Bigatron to the south. And 1 lonely player from the 4 rivals on their north side. They have a lot of people looking to move through here, Blank. And they need to control it.
4 rivals moves out into the blue just to stay hidden for a little while longer. Luxy and the team moving off the Damwon Gaming's position. They found a little bit of a compound, but they took shots from Stalwart earlier, so they're not full force at the moment.
Bigatron now locked in the fight. 4 players.
DRS though.
Alive. DRS, yeah, they've moved a little bit further south. Maybe they want to get eyes on this fight, play a third party. Zuxi, he's going to take shots from the back, and it's Mafia Ninja to get that first knock onto the fray. Booms does take damage as well. DRS now taking fights with 2 players. Okay, so that's actually Genesis Dogma trying to go out all the way in the blue. I feel like they're going for a heal strat right now. With 8 teams remaining, though, you've got to wonder how long that's going to last you. How many meds have you got in that back pocket?
Oh my God.
Pushing down the hillside. Look at a sideswipe onto Bigatron. There's a player a little bit closer, though. It's Luxy behind the tree.
Stalwart get definitively the circle here. So no one's going to be able to crest that position. They're continuing to hold the hillside. Zuxi, though, with an incredible spray down. They knew they had to go now and get into that building, but Luxi not quite able to get into the door. That has to be a quick res coming through before DRS. They cascade down this hillside.
2 seconds before the blue zone shrinks as well, and it will be moving through. DRS controlled this fight beautifully, but now they have the big challenge ahead of them. They have to push into Stalwart's position. I'm wondering what this Lone Ranger from 4 rivals is going to be able to do here, Blank, because I think this fight is all but done. Yeah, both teams losing those players. Favian falls, Damwon Gaming, Bigatron eliminated in the blink of an eye.
Nickel. Oh no, mate! You've not been able to get you. I think that was a graphical bug. We weren't quite able to see him getting off that first aid kit. So the Damwon Gaming will go down. It's just been fighting all over the place to try and get into position to actually hold this hillside, but Stalwart been doing a fantastic job of it. But you're right, 4 rivals, they've got an insurgent in this game. And I think getting to 5th place, this is what 4 rivals are great at, just getting those consistent points. But DRS, they're starting to get up the hillside. Great smoke usage here to get up, but look at this actual haul from Stalwart. It's unbelievable.
11 kills as well now, Blank. They have really started to stand tall on the top of the hills, finding 1, 2, 3 knocks, and DRS just getting mown down. They find a knock in response, or someone does, on the off angle, but Pika swings down low and will pick up the pieces. The nades not quite coming through. They don't even really feel they need them. AJ last standing atop. Feels like he has the info. Hits the deck again. Gets the reload off as well. Very, very fast on that one. Very efficient. And AJ under a lot of pressure. Finally spotted out. 15 kills for DRS with some still yet to come. Action spots Ralph in the grass. And Lord healing out in the blue as well. Now it's just Rith from 4 Rivals.
Yeah, this is the Enigma Galaxy strat. Try and get further into the game. Like you said though, it's just Rith now alive, remaining for them. But he has the circle. I really think Stalwart have to come down from the mountain. I wonder what he can do here. Again, it would be a 1v4. It's very unlikely. I do think that Stalwart are going to be finished this game extremely strongly. And you're right, John, they were looking for vengeance.
Genesis Dogma, I feel, had less first aids. Rith in these buildings. I don't know if Stalwart think there's a player in there. I feel like the way Scry is running around, they don't think that there's anyone inside. Spots one. No way. He's got 2 now. He knows the info. Looks for the push. Scry spots him. Okay, now the jig is up. Has to push out, and he will fall down. Stalwart claim the victory. Lord will be going down. Second place for Enigma Galaxy coming off their chicken dinner. It's a good point score, and Stalwart stymie everybody's ascent and will take the chicken dinner in dominating fashion.
And this is how Enigma Galaxy got into this Super Weekend in the first place, assisted by some great wins on their other maps. But Sanhok, they would heal it out, they would make it towards the end, and they would get a decent posting towards the top. Second place is beautiful. Honestly though, John, Stalwart, goodness me, what a game from them. They looked like demons on that map, and no one could stop them because they were just going from town to town, slicing you wherever they went. It was rough. It was very rough.
Yeah, absolutely. And to finish Sanhok with 4 players alive in that sort of style of circle
doesn't happen.
It does not. It is rare, right? This is quite the event for Stalwart. And I mean, to be fair, they had a great position in that last Erangel. They let it slip, you know? This time around, they step all the way up and they knock this one out the park. Fantastic performance from Stalwart. It felt like nobody was on their level this game.
It really didn't. I don't think anyone could have challenged them. It didn't feel that way, did it? It just felt like they were running the motions, finding other teams, taking them down. DRS had a chance. Again, they were fighting uphill. Great smokes from them, but just not able to find those kills in the first place. There was so much fighting towards the beginning of this game, though, and I think it freed up a lot of space on that north side. So Stalwart could realistically just focus all their attention down towards the southeast, especially with the Infinity going out so early on. They controlled the entirety of the north side as soon as they took out FaZe as well as Rico Infinity team, and I think that was the signal bell for them to be like, right, now we dominate the game.
I think they were pretty close to that boundary of 200 points to look even safe to qualify for the finals, and so I think with this win, they might just have been able to do it. I didn't track exactly how many kills they got in that last game. For Blank, they had 15 towards the end. I think they picked up at least 2 or 3 more towards the end. Yeah, 17 right at the end there. So they had a massive game coming through. 32 points in a single game. That I can't remember what the record is, but that's going to certainly be close. 17 kills for Stalwart Gaming on the Sanhok Chicken Dinner.
Big plays coming through, and Stalwart looking like they want to fight everybody they possibly can here on Sanhok. But we did have, what was it, 4 teams get eliminated very early on before, I think, even Zone 2. Yeah. But still, Stalwart, they were just fighting everyone they possibly could at the top of the hill and getting 17 eliminations, tying our highest scoring point game so far yet here in PMGC. And Max, you got to be happy. At the start of the day, you predicted them to be top of the leaderboard.
Hey, they come off the back of a third top 3 last game, and then we gave himself a chicken dinner here. I am over the moon right now, Jason. But it was actually worse. It was not even 4 teams that went out in the early start. It was actually 5. It was even worse than that, Jason. It was absolute hell. It was absolute hell at the start of that game. I don't know how that happened, but it seemed like Team are just chilling a little bit more, and they're just like, okay, we want to take some fun fights. We'll see how things are going to work out. But yeah, 17 eliminations for Stalwart on this game. I mean, they had the best position, but I was actually surprised Reject did not hold on to it any longer. They decided to go downhill very early, I think trying to maybe predict where the circle was going to go. They just gave that position for free over to Stalwart, and at the end the circle went their way, and they just played it just so damn well towards the end.
It's so hard, right? For that type of landscape, if you fight within compound, someone would sneak up like around the mountains surrounding and then punish you on the next rotation. But I really like that game, guys, because we are seeing the adaptations being made. We talk about punishing other teams based on their phase 1 tendencies. We are seeing quite a bit of that now. And I think that is the needed step for teams to be world-class, and they are starting to show some signs of that.
The unfortunate part was we saw 4 rivals finished with 10 points in 3rd place, and obviously Enigma Galaxy finishing 2nd with 12, and it all came down to like a 5-second window of just staying alive, and you would have been able, at least for 4 rivals, to get another 2nd place added to their tally. But either way, Saltwater Esports action, getting the MVP with his 456 damage, his 3 eliminations, and I'm actually really curious how the rest of his team did in eliminations, right? Because he only got 3, but he was the MVP. There's got to be some people with like really low damage, but really high eliminations.
I really thought the MVP of this game was going to be Top, because he was in that little sniper position that's really strong, that it's really hard to breach unless you have the grenades. And he had a Groza too, and he was just having all of the players of DRS getting clumped in one singular position and in one singularity, and he could just pick them up left, right, and center super easily. So I thought Top would be there, but as you said, the stats must be really close in between the players. But man, Enigma Galaxy was 107. Yep. Oh.
No, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see Max be right. Saltwater Esports are 5 points behind. If they're 5 ahead of Enigma Galaxy in this next match, Max will have predicted correctly, and Tarzan, I feel like our hopes are pretty much gone here.
But you know what, like, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, the way that they played that game as well, sometimes we see teams having a good drop, like they call that place home, but the power positions around that particular drop, they didn't play that quite well. But John and Blank mentioned it as well. They were trying to take 2 or 3 teams at the same time, mid-range, long-range, everything. So that is much deserved chicken dinner. Is a really huge bounce for them that we want to see.
Yeah, looking down the list though, as we get into the 2nd page, Rico Infinity Team, I mean, really having a rough time, but to be fair, they weren't bottom going into this match. DRS, I think you pointed out, Tarzan, probably one of their best performances we've seen out of them so far in the Super Weekend.
Is important. Like, this is about time to wake up, right? Like, after all, it's the 2nd last game of the 2nd day, and they had a very decent week 1, and it feels so bad. Like, to go down really low, and I think there's a lot of fans to disappoint as well. And sometimes with the thing with momentum is you have to take it in your own hands, and in games like that, that is the bounce. And yeah, it will continuously be the theme for them, I think, for the remainder of the game.
It's also so weird because you would not think of DRS as a team that you're actively going to be seeing consistently throughout the game in the elimination feed and picking up an extra elimination hit left, right, and center. But they were third-partying so many fights. It was actually very impressive. They third-partied the fight between Team Secret and Genesis Dogma. They third-partied the fight between BTR and Damwon, which they're a team that likes to play pretty slow, and if they have an opportunity to go for chicken dinner, they're going to strike while the iron is hot. But I like this DRS, and we kept talking about this. This team has changed drastically from week 1 until week 2, and they continuously improving, going for a little bit more opportunistic kind of playstyle. It's looking great from DRS. I like this new DRS, and if they can keep playing on this type of level, I would love to see them make it right to the grand finals in January, because I think right now they have impressed me more than many other teams in terms of how they've improved over time, and I want to see more. I want to see them frag out and get those chicken dinners now.
The thing is, right, DRS had 134 points in the first Super Weekend. Like, they were one of the top earning teams, to be completely fair. If I'm reading this correctly, they were like the 3rd top scoring team.
And it's still improving, which is insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but they've only had... They've had only 30 points so far in the Super Weekend, and they had 134 overall in the first Super Weekend. I don't think they can make up 100 points in tomorrow. So in my opinion, they've gone down, but they have also started to adapt their strategy, which you pointed out many times. You want to see out of this team, who seems to be so hard-headed when it comes to just adapting and changing up their style. But you know what? We still do have 1 match left to go. Maybe DRS can take this one home and start to claw up a little bit more points in their favor, but we have to find out after a break.
first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
We are back. I'm about to hop into the final match here of our second day of our second Super Weekend. I cannot believe we're actually almost done with week 2, meaning we only have 1 week left until we get into our finals of the Eastern Conference. And like I said before, of course, it will be over on Erangel. FaZe Clan able to take a victory earlier on. Enigma Galaxy able to take one as well. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be a little bit biased here, Max. I want to see Enigma Galaxy outperform Stalwart Esports. If I'm not going to be right, I don't want you to be right.
If you can't get the win, nobody's going to get it at the end. But hey, gotta say, Stalwart has been playing this Super Weekend way better than what they did in the first Super Weekend. They had a little bit of a rough start with that first day yesterday, but they definitely feel a lot more comfortable in how they approached the game. They're fragging out big time, but yes.
I've seen top there with 9 eliminations, but the MVP was Action with 3. I really wonder how much damage he did in that last match then to not be MVP, because the survival time should have been the same, right?
I think I can get the numbers. You'll have to give me a sec. I think I can check the numbers, but that must be a huge difference
2,
if you can make up
3.
Actually, okay, but
4.
It's a way of it's a figure of speech, Jason.
Yeah, no, didn't claim it, but I think
he
this
feels
game
the pressure
going
right
in,
now.
Yeah,
Go
like it's great, like for Stalwart to be doing well, because we've seen some, how should I say, almost linear play from this particular map on Erangel. I mean, it's actually quite punishable if we think about how they love Nova, right? But speaking of Southern Island, we have to talk about the Infinity, because Jason, we put our faith onto them, and it's not really working out so far today, but it's a little bit of the claim from 628 against, you know, the Western Bridge situation that they didn't quite adapt to. They just keep going through that, and 628 say, no, just keep coming back, and we will try to eliminate you again.
Okay, well, I believe the match is about to start, so we are going to head over to our commentators. Guys, it's the final match of the day. John Allen and Blink, take it away.
We are into the third match of our run here today, and the fifth match of the day. There we go. Let's get a little bit of ratchet and clanking going on there. Certainly going to be banging about a couple of teams here today. Certainly being chaotic over the last few.
Yeah, that last game was pretty ratchet, to be honest with you. The amount of times that people were dying all over the place, it was not good. A lot of people were just all over the place in that one. So interesting stuff, and we'll see if we get. I keep asking for a calm game. I'm not going to get a calm game, John. I know I'm not going to get a calm game. Blah 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 blah.
Neither of us can talk
right now.
Neither of us can talk this game. That's gonna go well. That's gonna go very well for us.
That's gonna go really good. Love it to see it. Zaki down to Sosnovka. Bringing it back right now. I've got to reattain my ability. Regain. Oh my God.
Okay. Did you want?
Send us out. Get us out of here.
Take a minute. Take a minute. Take a breath. I'll talk about this. Playing path very heavily westerly. It's going to isolate teams who like to play, like for instance Bigatron. They're going to have a little bit tougher time getting out there as early as they might like. But in general, it's really the Yasnaya teams that maybe I worry about the most. That MS Shonburi and DRS both looking to get over there, as we see a lot of teams drop out and head to that west, maybe a little bit more. Talking about playing that Gatka split. Like, wow.
They are playing the Gatka split. But look at this circle, man. Look at this circle. We're going to get a Sosnovka finish. I'm so excited for this one. You know, it's been a long time coming. You know, I think Kalaris sees a lot of these over whatever he's doing right now. But here on PUBG Mobile, we've not seen a few of these ones. So I'm excited for a Sosnovka finish. I know what's great about this.
The Infinity don't get camped.
Exactly. Jason, Tarzan, this is your time. This is now, right? Okay, this is for the Infinity to at least regain a little bit of their confidence, a little bit of their composure in this game, considering they don't have to go to the North Island this time. And 628's like, damn, now we have to go to them.
But how do we get points now? Oh, no. But unfortunately for the Infinity, they've got another occupant on the military island right now, and it is one that, quite frankly, I would not want to be neighbors with. Stalwart have dropped on the north side of the island. I mean, they generally do play from this position, right? They play from that Novo spot. southwards, but a little bit further westerly this time around. So possible conflict when they try and take positions outside of that central military base.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely possible conflicts here. I do like the rejects already making their way across. Stalwarts made it towards the center on that north side. It's a very typical position we saw BTR play many, many times in the past. It's a strong spot as well. It's like right on this hillside where you can look down towards the beach just in case people try to swim across themselves. Genesis Dogma setting themselves up for that coastal push just alongside where BTR is. But I would assume that BTR, considering their position is so close to that eastern bridge, they might try and make their way across there, John.
Reject. They're going to get cut down this time around. It's their turn as they pick up the point. God Tunny close by, and that's just, there's no way you're getting through there, Blank. It feels like a little bit of it. I feel like they deserve this. I feel like this is,
yeah,
it's their time. It's their chance.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the bridge camper now.
Duello, though, managed to get through. Managed to punch through the barricade. Unfortunately, position known and very isolated from the rest of the team. Didn't quite manage to get that knock. Now just has to try and hide.
It's good, though, because if he immediately gets away with this one, it does mean that there's a new angle that the Infinity now have to deal with, so not all eyes can be on that bridge. This potentially allows for a little bit more action for the reject guys to get across. BTR, they have made that crossing on the eastern bridge, but Stalwart, immediately, they've spotted this one, and now they're here to greet them.
They are absolutely ready. I feel like Duello took some shots at the Infinity's backline, and it's like a younger brother who like slaps their older brother on the arm, and then the older brother just turns and like their eyes burn red, and it's immediately
it's like
Duello knows
I'm gonna get
what he's
backhanded.
done.
Yeah.
He's like, Mom, and runs away.
Mom, help! He hit me first. I promise. Yeah, it's a rough one.
But with the reposition coming through from the Infinity team, the Infinities, the teammates from the Infinity, that allows Reject to maybe move forwards. It's actually Tong Jibao looking to put in the back as well, trying to crunch in behind Reject on this bridge. Bigatron's struggling. Everybody's struggling right now. Blank, it's 4 minutes in, and we're seeing about 4 different fights going on. It continues to be chaos reigning on our games today.
Yeah, this is the second day. Everyone's high in spirits, it seems, rising, looking back to form. Finds another there. Top trying to come into the situation as well, but is in the vehicle. Maybe looking to get away from this one, I would too. But BTR, damn, they've really had a big rise in terms of ability during this tournament. And that's what we like to see from BTR. Currently sitting 15th, not really 15th, with 82 points total. You know, they're catching up to FaZe. And although FaZe has had a fantastic run at the start of the day, you know, BTR, they're not that far behind.
They are the immortal snail, you know, catching up to FaZe, just keep it on going. Yeah. FaZe, you know, they're running away, they're doing those short little bursts, but Bigatron, they're always there.
Spins,
they're always in the back
cartwheels. Yeah, but BTR behind, they're just walking. They're like, why are you doing all this fancy stuff for? Like, we're just going to walk in. Don't worry, boys. We're going to get to those finals. So if you're a Bigatron fan, give them that support. Give them that hope. BTR win. Let's go. Let's do it. This is the time. We know how good these guys can be on Sosnovka. We see how many times they come from far, but they dominate on these circles. So, you know, I'm hoping for it.
You know what would be my favorite thing to happen is a hard north shift back to the mainland.
Yes.
We've had so much chaos today. We've had so much chaos today, Blank, that I feel like what's a little bit more thrown into the mix, right? If that happens, all of these teams who made early crossings are going to suffer really, really hard. I imagine we're going to start to see some boats being employed to make these rotations now.
Yeah, for sure. 628 down towards Primorsk. It's more than likely they're going to get in a boat and move across to that western island. That would make sense to me. But Genesis Dogma, they're just in. High Boy, he's got absolutely no support from the rest of his team. They were playing a very wide split there. I think BTR might have taken an early kill. And there's Lons from Tong Jiabao just running down the last player. Duello, you know, he couldn't get away in the house, so he's run to the swimming pool now. Trying to escape those clutches of not only Stalwart, but now Tong Jiabao too.
Tong Jiabao, 4 players alive and actually playing pretty effectively set up around this bridge. I feel like a lot of power comes from bridge camps, but the question is, when do you leave those bridge camp positions on these? Because you know teams are going to swim, you know teams are going to take those boats and get ahead of you. How long can you afford to stay by that bridge before all the good spots are taken?
It really depends where you're going and what you're achieving, right? For Tongjiabao, I actually don't mind this bridge camp, specifically because there is a fantastic compound just the eastern side of them that you can pick up later on. Like, right now, it's a case of this is a great position to gather information, get some eliminations, possibly even weaken some teams as they come in and not fully go for the squad wipe, and then just move east and pick up that nice little ridge side or potentially the compound right in the center of Sosnovka. So there's a lot of options to Tongjiabao. On the other hand, for Genesis Dogma, have moved down on the eastern side and went straight to Novo. This is more about picking up that loot, right? And finish off the last players of Stalwart.
MS Chonburi didn't have great luck on that Sanhok. To be fair, though, neither did anyone else who dared to cross the path of Stalwart. This time around, they're all 4 alive.
Yeah, I did feel like it was going to be a stalwart game as well with the way they came out blasting over on that eastern side versus BTR, but BTR get the better of them and immediately move to a safe position towards the center north side of Sosnovka. But again, you know, we're still waiting for the next shift. Does it head north? Is it an awkward one? We'll take our chances right now for all these teams on the Sosnovka Island itself. I think it's one of those things where, yeah, chances do come into effect. We've not seen a Sosnovka finish really at all during this tournament. So heads down this way, more than likely it's going to go for it.
I think
or could it just be a psychological thing? I think it might be a psychological thing. Just be like, we've never had one. Let's go there. It's going to happen.
I think we've had one Sosnovka finish, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure if Max is listening, I'm sure he has the bead, or Tarzan as well.
Max!
Jason doesn't know. Jason definitely doesn't know. It's only Max or Tarzan.
No, of course not. Max, help us out, please.
I'm sure. Well, yeah, basically anyone. Help! There's the southern shift though, and it is going to be a Sosnovka military base finish.
We got one yesterday, apparently. My brain is fried because I don't remember that one at all. But alas, here we are. Sosnovka once again. We're getting the double-double. Okay, we'd love to see it. The Infinity, though, see how they can fare here. Again, they're right in the center of Sosnovka. FaZe, they've moved around in vehicles. They've got some boats. They've got a lot of boats, in fact, 3. So I think they've tried to pick up as many as possible to make it even harder for those North teams. 6-2 on the other hand, they're coming in hot. This feels like a scene out of Indiana Jones.
I do. You know what? That does look like something out of Indiana Jones. I feel like you've put that right on the money. I don't know why, but it's absolutely right.
The music. It's the sound. I think it's right at the beginning of one of the films where you get that sound, that beautiful sound of the propeller coming through with the music in the background. That's how that feels. 6-2-8, they're looking to plunder that treasure, which just might be a golden chicken dinner here on Sosnovka.
It's not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's not an Indiana Jones film, in my mind.
No,
it doesn't count. Doesn't count.
No. Sorry, Shia LaBeouf. I mean, you're a great actor, but that was a flop.
Holes was great.
Great film.
Even Stevens' classic TV program.
There is a lot of holes and a lot of ditches here on Sosnovka that you can play in. So there's a lot of areas where it's available for you to actually hold out, which is very important. So these teams better take some tips from Shia LaBeouf himself. Try and find yourself a little place to hold up time while before you break out and ruin the oppressors above you.
A little bit of Stanley Yelnats action coming through. On the side here, this is still on the mainland for Enigma Galaxy and Rico Infinity team. They are up the mountain right now and need to come down. It's going to be a tricky crossing to make, though. Everybody already making their way, well, almost everybody already making their way to that island position. Enigma Galaxy, they've taken a knock in return. Ralph, unresable. I feel like you can't get him back up there. You're just going to have to sack that one off as a bad job.
I think with this circle, I think we are looking like this is going to be a Sosnovka finish here. Now there's teams towards that north side, Cryptics, DRS, Team Secret, all left out in the cold at the moment. Reconvincing, they are a fairly northern team here on Erangel, so they've had to make quite a far run down here, but they're currently fighting against Enigma Galaxy. Obviously, Enigma Galaxy have taken a knock already in Ralph, but he is just the #1 healer. They shouldn't need him too much here at Erangel if they want to do well.
Swinging around on the south side now. Top, just a hermit looking for his homestead. Not quite going to be too lucky with that one. Team Secret yet to cross, and this is going to be actually an unguarded crossing coming through against Team Secret. So they are, you can see they are preparing right now. They're probably healing, stimming, making sure they're all ready to go for a crossing, to go in for a fight immediately. But there won't be one unless they crash straight into 4 rivals.
Yeah, but DRS are close behind, and once again, it is DRS, Team Secret, that battle of the ages that keeps happening. DRS quite far out the way, though, and equally they'll have to stim up and heal. Do get that next shift on our screen. It is Sosnovka very, very firmly now, and this is where that Sosnovka airstrip landing becomes into play. Those northern compounds come into play now. Also that ridge side that currently you can see BTR and Tongjiabao is currently hovering around. That's a very, very crucial position on the map. So there's a lot of areas to control at the moment. 6-8, they're a little bit out the way on that western side, but they've made their way up, and now it's going to be a lot of fighting to ensue, John.
A lot of area being taken. I mean, the Infinity haven't had to move at all this game. I mean, they guarded out a little bit on that bridge, but they've gone right back. They've slingshotted back top now in a 1 versus 4. Unfortunately for him, against Genesis Dogma. Booms doesn't even need to find the shots. Tatars that are good for 1. That's the elimination. Stalwart, they go down 16th place after what looked like an absolute tear from them. It's surprising.
So sorry, Max. I'm so sorry. I mean, it did look good, and I actually approved of your prediction. You know, going for the Infinity, that was the worst prediction in the world, to be honest with you. Like, come on. Can't go for the Infinity. They can't be consistent forever. DRS now making their way through with Down 1 Gaming hot on their heels. Team Secret made it across earlier on. Cryptic's also coming through this side of the map, so you know there's going to be a big crunch here. Team Secret still gathering information, so they have that agency in terms of they're across early. They can start to figure out what's open, what's not. But it looks like a lot of these teams are on that western side.
Okay, DRS lose their player on the bridge. Forrest actually has those meds as well, can start to pop those heals. There's DRS players behind, though, that they need to be worried about. Trying to drop the K9. Fabian takes some damage, takes some bullets from the back, and has to serpentine his way out of trouble, out of dodge. Mafia Ninja needing to pop those heals. Third zone, it's going to hurt. It's not really negligible at this point. And with Cryptics coming in from the behind, you've got Enigma Galaxy, like all trying to move through this one choke point. This is too late for these teams. I don't think any of them are going to get away unscathed. Maybe Down 1 Gaming have escaped the wrath of the Blues.
Maybe. I think they played it out well, but it was very dicey for them. Enigma Galaxy, you know, their hopes are going to get dashed here, honestly, because they were fighting with Rico Infinity for so long. Wow, he was one hell of a diver there. That
10 points, Tom Daly, good show.
Looking like a seal, honestly, with the way he sleekly made it way into that water. Enigma Galaxy get killed. But yeah, I think Rico Infinity won that fight out with 4 members, and then they could slowly make their way across the road to the beachhead. So really, really well done to Rico Infinity to play this one out for so long.
An income Team Secret from that bridge. They moved across it early. Down 1 Gaming, they sail on past, but Juni takes a knee. They can get some healing done here. The Infinity, though, might have other ideas. C-Block, their stomping ground. They know these fights. They know these positions. They know how fast they need to be moving. The timings are going to be good. DRS, they are stuck right now in this little conflict. Somebody steps up, goes down himself, but takes 1 for the cost. Freak now looking to evacuate the position, get through the DRS roadblock, as he knows that DRS are just going to be sending away. Cryptics, in the meantime, they've been biding their time. Do you think they were waiting for this fight to finish?
I don't know. Honestly, I would say for Cryptics is a case of, you know you've come in really, really late. Like, biding your time is a very good thing to do here. It was the smartest thing to do, but it also puts you in a very weak situation, right? It's not going to be fun for Cryptics going forward. They've got a lot of ground to cover, and with this being the 4th zone as well, it's difficult. Reject, though, taking a massive fight with 628 at the moment. Still looking strong with the 2 players, Regiosio as well as Duello, who have been incredible today.
It looks like 628 did get taken down there as well. 14 teams remain, but in come Genesis Dogma. Oh wait, hang on a minute. 628 still have 2 players left going. MS Jonburi, Tongjiabao just roll them down. Okay. In the meantime, we're seeing that light up the kill feed. Nades continue to come through. Did MS Jonburi just get eliminated? I feel like they've lit up the kill feed enough. Yeah, there they go. They have gone down. Enigma Galaxy eliminated 3 kills on that bridge crossing. Everybody else still going, though. And everyone, at least 2 players alive.
There is hope yet. FaZe as well, that they've just been playing along that fencing down towards the bottom side of Sosnovka military base. But this circle here, it's going to be a bit tough. You know, you're going to have very separate infighting at the moment between that airstrip landing towards that north side of the C block, whereas you're going to also have a lot of fighting towards this ridge side that Rico Infinity team as well as Four Rivals are holding. Four Rivals are really the silent killer within the lobby. Yes, they don't have these flashy moments towards the end of the games, but they are consistently at the end of the game.
Yeah, they keep on going. I mean, this is what we see from this team so often, and it's what makes them so consistent and always part of that conversation towards the top side of those tables. I mean, they have had a really solid run. I think they started the day in second place, and they are. I think they actually maybe not quite second place. They have been bumped a little bit further down than maybe they would have liked. But Four Rivals, they're still in second place. I'm confusing myself.
Yeah.
But 225 points at the start of this game, close to the Infinity, who were on 234 at the start of this game, and they just never give up. They never relent, and the pressure that they're exerting towards the top is incredible.
Yeah, I'm getting a quick com through from Maxman saying that Four Rivals, they will win one day, and I also believe it. I think there is definite chance for this team. They're extremely strong. It's just like those endings there don't seem to have all that much presence in. But for the rest of the game, their presence is definitely felt from a lot of these other teams. It's quite oppressive in the sense that they are consistently here and not a team that you can ever count out. FaZe, though, they've just about made it in at the moment. They're behind Reject. Reject obviously only having 2 players, so FaZe in a much better position to start clearing them out from here. Next circle is starting to encroach, though, and it's getting worrying. Duella, though, starts this off strong. Now it's a 2v3.
Oh, DRS take a knock as well as an ass. Finds Mafia Ninja on those hillsides, leaving DRS down to just the one player. FaZe looking for the res. They know Duello's here now. Going to be guarding that out. Genesis Dogma pushing in from that south side. Next circle is just come through as well, and it's going to head northwest. Infinity's still in it, but Tong Jiabao going to have to reposition. It's great for Four Rivals, I think, Blank.
Yeah, this is amazing news for Four Rivals, in fact. Rico Infinity team only really the ones that are going to harass them, but they're locked in a 2 split at the moment where DRS are also taking fights to them, but Rico Infinity team get the better of one of the players from DRS, just Gyal's in alive now for them, and you imagine the rest of Rico Infinity team will start to make their way across. Reject, I feel sorry for this team because they wish there were other teams in this area, because they have a very firm location within the compounds itself. If there was another team here, they might just be able to third party onto the guys from FaZe. Luckily, though, Reject's holding their own.
Rejects, they are going to be a little bit less troubled as FaZe actually send very, very fast a 2-piece position up to the side of the hill. You can see that smoke starting to bloom. Ragey gets the location on it. MR5 left behind. Going to have to use the old 2 legs. Old-fashioned, but they still do work. Bigatron taking a fight now with Genesis Dogma, trying to guard them out on the southeastern side. 628 with their 2 players as well. Going to chime in, and look at that. Now she strikes from the sidelines. Satar and Booms now, last 2 players for Genesis Dogma, right next to Luxy, right next to the channel there. Over on the hillside in the meantime, Four Rivals, they've spotted out this FaZe position, just peppering away the vehicles. They break out wide. They're not going to be able to quite find it there. Suppression from MR5 on the south side as well to try and stop Reject as they sail on through. Satar swings out wide, and MR5 takes shots there as well. Teams are going back and forth and trading places, Blank.
Yeah, I think for Reject, they've actually managed to get out towards the Infinity's position, and now they're in their building, and the Infinity are running away. They think it's a much larger force that's actually entered. Reject looking good here. I mean, this is the power of having confidence and having that ego, right? Because the Infinity assumed that this was a full-on push from a full team, but Reject, you know, they've just acted as if that was so.
And you know what wise man once said? It's about drive, it's about power. They stay hungry, they devour, and they absolutely run it straight on through, chomping up all of that territory that they can. Southeastern side, though, territory being claimed right now by 628. Bigatron get backed up, the Twins locked into this combat, and 249, a lot of bullets sent their way. Now she suppresses the door frame, but the cross is good. Luxy stays alive, but not for long. Will fall down, and it's actually Dao Shi to find Zuxi, and Down One Gaming to play spoiler to the push.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of teams in this area, so it's not likely you're going to be able to get away with something like that. FaZe will send a Molotov out towards Rico Infinity. Kid now looking towards Rico Infinity as well. They're pushing from the eastern side. This next circle will determine all. Does it favor those teams towards the south? Yes, it does. And now we'll be looking at the Infinities have a strong position here. So will Reject. And down one game, we've got to move through.
4 rivals, they've been decimated. 1 player left. Rico Infinity team now the top of the tables. The circle shifts down south. They will have to leave, pushing through. Rico Infinity team, 4 players alive. Fidan low will get pushed by this blue zone as well, unless they can get a fast res. Pushing through the smoke, it's an us. Prestiga as well, looking to try and take care of Kid. They get the job done. Fidan now can be res. This Team Secret want to pick up the pieces. Fredo, low HP. Eye shots there as well. Rico Infinity team to back up the team beautifully. Fredo, low as well. Nades, mollies, smokes, everything to slow Team Secret down to get these reses off for Rico Infinity team.
This is such an important fight to finish off early. They know this as well, considering they're going to have to move down towards the south side. Rico Infinity team's trying to move backwards. There's a nice little flank coming through from one of the players from Team Secret. Fredo not quite able to res up his teammate there and will have to drop belly first back to the floor.
The Infinity as well, in the meantime, having a good side of this slice of pie. The 4 rivals finally eliminated. Fredo goes down. Prestiga stays alive, crucially. They'd probably lose him if he falls here. And eye shots last for Team Secret. Moves in towards the side, but the top of the hills spotted out by 628 on the south side of C block.
Yeah, Daoshi's got great angles onto everything at the moment. Eye shots moves his way down, but it's got Tunny to find that one out. The Infinity, 3 players up here. I might have to eat my words here. You know, the Infinity, Jason, Tarzan, I'm sorry. They are quite a good team after all.
I mean, they are at the top of the tables and they're there for a reason. This is their stomping ground, Blank. They are the only team that really consistently drops in military base. So you got to hope that they're going to have a good chance here. Rico Infinity team, the last to descend from the mount on high. Looking to command all of the other teams in this C block.
I think for Reject being able to buffer away phase and then also hold on to this building is incredible stuff. Now, down one gaming, coming on to the Infinity now.
They're getting shut down though, almost immediately. Got Tunny, takes a knee, however, on the backside, and Sung is looking good, but Logan's there for the backup. Fabian, last standing for Damwar Gaming on this push, and no one yet looking for the third party, although I think there are people waiting right outside. 628, hang on a minute, they're on the top of the building. I didn't even remember about that one, but still, Infinity fight on through. There's 3 players alive, and it's just Newsy standing for them.
Yeah, I mean, for the Infinity, it could be one of the strongest teams within this lobby at the moment if they get these 3 players back up and running. Right now, it is only Rico Infinity team that has another team sat with 3 alive. So this could be a really, really important turn of events for the Infinity if they can keep this one going. I don't imagine Fabian's going to move out and try and finish off this fight, considering he knows how many angles are on this one. Next circle centers up towards that southeast side. This is very, very dangerous. Reject, though, they still have a good time of it. They're still within this circle, and there's a chance for them. There's a real chance here for Reject at the moment.
I really like this position on the roof as well from 628. They need to isolate that building to their north side, which is exactly what they're doing with the nades. As soon as that happens, as soon as Reject fall, they can stand up and really dominate this next part of the zone. The question is, how long will that take, and will Reject allow that to happen?
See the car. I mean, this is right now all the Reject's doing is getting the car out into position that's going to give them cover going forward to the end of the game. They know that they're not quite in the circle at the moment in this building, so they need something, anything to hide behind. And that vehicle, not quite as far out as they would have liked it, but it's the best they can do.
Fabian, very close to danger right now. I'm sure he knows exactly what's up. Infinity, they haven't cleared this whole building yet. They haven't swept through it. He's checking the angles, though. He's twitchy. It's Snoozy. He's worried.
The only room they haven't checked that Fabian's in, which is very awkward. Duello spots out Rico Infinite's team across the way. They're right on the edge of the circle as well, similarly to them. This vehicle explosion was so pivotal towards Reject's ability to get further in this game. It might seem like such a small thing, but with the smokes that are available to them moving out just slightly, now he can play behind it. Really, really well done to Reject.
It's incredible that this branch of C block is still in this next circle, Blank. It means the Infinity can stay inside for a little bit longer. It means that 628 can oversee the majority of this circle for a little bit longer. It's great news for the teams on the inside, but it's a ticking time bomb as well because it's so hard to leave.
Yeah, everything has slowed down, and we're already on almost 27 minutes into the match. This is one of the longest Erangels we've had in a long time. It's purely because everyone's just waiting things out. I think Logan knows that Satar is in this location, just waiting for him to pop up. He's right on the edge of the circle. He will have to move soon.
A nade from Stiga. Not going to find the mark just yet. Next circle's in. It shifts away from the building finally. So this is the time where everybody's going to have to break. 4 teams currently playing around this building.
Goodness me, Reject on the outside.
Oh, no.
Get in, but Fabian's here. Oh my god!
He shuts him down immediately through the door, gets the flush, but Fabian's position now known. Duello, last standing for Reject in this point, moves in, and Fabian just gets absolutely deleted. Godtani with the Ferrari peak.
Goodness me, now Reject's in a real spot of bother now, with Duello being the only one left alive for them. They tried to get themselves into the building itself, which would have been the play, but Fabian being left there by the Infinity was big. Godtani hits a massive nade over towards Recon Infinity's position. There's no way they don't get away from this one.
And Ash spots 33Z on the top of the building, and it goes for a second as well, but Taoshi shuts it down to 1 player alive now for 628. I think actually there might be 2 over on the top side. Reject fall in the midst of it, and the chaos started to come through as teams have to leave the building. Rez looking to come in as well for 628 to stay alive. 3 players for the Infinity as well, looking to break out of this building. Tatar crawling around, 2 kills so far for Genesis Dogma, but they are staying alive, and all credit to them. The top of the building's now isolated. Spots a player up on the sidelines, but he doesn't want to enter the fight. The Infinity's gunned down Daoshi. 33Z falls out of the frying pan and into the fire there. The Infinity lose Nuzzy. That is going to get flushed out as well. Prestiga stays alive. 2 players to the Infinity making their way forwards. 2 teams alive as Genesis Dogma fall. Prestiga with the Molotov will be forced out. He's burning from the underneath. There's the blue zone. And the Infinity with 10 kills looking good. But Godtani, a sliver of HP, going to make it happen. And the Infinity, it started where it ended. They will claim their drop spot. And it's all back to the top of the tables. The Infinity get the chicken dinner.
And they know how to play when they have 4 members alive and they've given time to get into that circle. So they need to figure out what is happening with that bridge camp. This is the big storyline for me. This is the Infinity unhindered by 628 in the early game. This is what they look like when they have all the opportunities available to them, John. Why can't we see this? Because that bridge camp is really causing them so much problems in the early game. Perhaps even a change of drop spot is necessary here in Erangel before them, because they just cannot figure it out. There is only 1 more Super Weekend after this one, 1 more day tomorrow, and I need to see adjustments from the Infinity, particularly because they look so good here. They need to be able to have this kind of action more often, because if they eliminate that problem, they can look like this every game.
It's much more of a problem towards the finals than it is right now, Blank. They're up to a massive point total at this point, I think, coming off a fairly high kill win. I think they had about 230 points at the start of the game. So they're going to be around that 250, 260 mark, right? So they're going to have a really solid points total. They've pretty much already qualified for that Super Weekend. I don't think there's any way that they don't make it. There's no world. Even if they don't make it into next Super Weekend, it just won't happen. So what do they adjust there? It feels like, and you talked about this, Blank, they might need to go faster to cross those bridges if they want to have similar performances moving forwards.
Yeah, it's just a case of, like, when you get into that final, you do not want this to be a continuing problem, right? You want to be able to adjust it, John. And I'm not sure what's going to happen, so I think we're going to throw this over the desk, see what they have to say about it, because those guys, they have the big brains.
Why are you going to put us on the spot? I don't know what's going to happen. Do you guys know what's going to happen?
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. There's too much happening. I don't know.
We like that game, though. We like that game a lot.
Go on.
Go on. Why? Okay. Okay, I'm going to say data and stuff. When we talk about Southern Island, is a repeat of yesterday's day, Game 5. That means you can use what happened yesterday to maybe inform today's decision. So a lot of tendencies that we are seeing in early crossings, maybe where teams like to set up to potentially punish that. We were expecting some of them didn't happen, but towards that end game as well, we love seeing it today, guys. We have teams having podium finishes at their drop slot. I think is a great sign to show that they know that particular part of the map.
I think 628 had a really good plan in mind here to play that rooftop position. They were making sure that they would have the potential advantage versus both Reject and Infinity inside the building, while Rick Infinity, they could spar Rick Infinity behind the scaffolding position from that spot. So 628 had a really good idea, but when you're forced to jump off the rooftop, Infinity still had an almost full squad in the bottom section. Like, you're just getting fed to the walls, literally, and Infinity just took the advantage so quickly. I mean, it's Infinity, and they're able to get themselves some other wins, and they are the kings of Sanhok for a reason here.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job there. As we take a look at the rankings here in this last match, they take themselves 26 points, but also Rico Infinity team and even 628. I feel like this is probably some of their best performing matches they've had this entire Super Weekend, to be completely honest.
Yes, of course. Rico Infinity as well. We talked about it as we were watching them. They have some of the biggest flashy games, in the tournament, especially in week 1, but they've been quite quiet through this week. I think this is probably the biggest team that they've had this Super Weekend, and there's more that they can prove tomorrow, but that does feel like a little bit of a luck component in there being quite strong, I would say, but they do play those segments okay, so I'm happy for them.
I don't know if I would say that there was a luck factor involved for Rico Infinity this game, at least. They had to fight tooth and nail versus, 4 rivals. There was Team Secret going for a little bit of a sneaky angle up in the northern edge. So they had to try and seize control of that high ground position above the rest of the teams who were playing in that C block. I think this was a really well-deserved strong performance from Rico Infinity, but unfortunately Godtunny had the insane grenades. They made it very hard. I'm talking about Godtunny getting 7 eliminations with the 1050 damage. Tarzan?
Ooh.
Thank you.
No, sorry, the second one was better. Ooh.
Yeah, I prefer the second one. It was super well played also versus Rico Infinity because they had that very small little ridge to hide behind the position of scaffolding. And usually the thing is, if you get knocks there, your 3D model is elevated because you're knocked and you're on your knees instead of being flat on the ground. And you can just confirm those kills so easily. So it was highly impressive, actually, from Godtunny, able to create a little bit of an easier time for them to close off that game. So I'm happy to see them get themselves some wins like that. But Anas, it's good to see some Rico Infinity players being up here with the top damage.
Well, I mean, for Godtunny as well, we had Favian from Dam1 just sitting inside the building, just hiding there. He ends up picking off a teammate from the Infinity, and Godtunny goes straight into the room, pretty much honed in exactly where Favian's going to be and just mows him down. I mean, you just see how switched on he is as a player. He always seems to just have the perfect information. He's very aware of everything happening around him, and he capitalizes off it time and time again.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why I'm not that good at PUBG Mobile, is that I'm really bad with the audio cues and to exactly know where the guy is. So highly impressive from Godtunny into that game and for the rest of Infinity. But looking at the most utility, a lot of utility was really going to be necessary when you're playing in the C block. You want to try and chuck those nades, that utility onto the side. But Reject had a good opportunity, and I think that there's something very interesting in that game that John and Blank brought up, is that there was a car that got rid of at one point. But I'm not sure. I think it was actually Reject that exploited the car themselves, and that gave them just a little bit of an extra position to play from to potentially facilitate a shift into the building where Infinity and 628 were playing. It was not quite enough, unfortunately, but the idea was there, and I'm happy to see that come to fruition towards the end.
All right, we can see here at the end of 2 days of play now in our Super Weekend. This is our current standings within the Super Weekend alone. Enigma Galaxy still holding #1 from a team who got 47 points in the very first week of Super Weekend to now coming out to having 110 after 2 days. Fantastic. But even beyond that, the Infinity maintaining once again such dominating performance. In week 1, they got 155 points, and they're sitting at 105 right now. They're basically on track to get exactly the same amount of points they got last week.
Yeah, I completely agree. And right now, I think one thing they need to figure out, for this huge amount of Erangel, is how they play it, how they place maybe phase 1 when they need to go back to the main island. Of course, they know how to play Sosnovka. They've really proved that. But second page, I think there's a few outliers still. I think DRS got a decent game earlier on Sanhok, but they need to do a lot more. We're talking about matching them with how they played in week 1, and tomorrow has to be huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And the thing is, some of these teams are sitting a lot more pretty than the others in the sense of overall standings are a lot higher up, and they can afford to have these quote-unquote worst matches happen, or these worst week happen, because as long as they're still just accumulating points here or there, whether it's 30, whether it's 50, they're still getting further and further ahead of teams who have yet to qualify, or the teams who are trying to qualify here in their very first Super Weekend. So, I mean, teams like Rico Infinity, they were sitting at 144 points, or 124 points after the first week. I mean, with what they've accumulated here now, 50, they're at 170, and the original proposed bubble was between 150 and 190. Not sure if that's maybe changed since then, but as long as they just keep, getting points, as long as they requalify again, they have no threat of being knocked out of top 16.
Yeah, they should be fine, but talking about the threat of being kicked out of the top 16, I'm currently looking at one team in particular that is in a very, very dangerous position here, Jason, and that is going to be Cryptic Staff. I have the impression we're just invisible throughout this year's second Super Weekend in particular. They had good macro in the first week. I was happy with how they would rotate around the map, get some good entry points. Unfortunately, when it comes to their fragging power, I think it's still a little bit lackluster in the grand scheme of this PMGC so far, but I have not seen them these last 2 days, unfortunately. And they were on the first Super Weekend in 15th with 73 points. They have another rough start here on this Super Weekend. Not able to get himself over 40 points. This might be the first team to actually qualify to 2 Super Weekends. Actually struggle to hold on to that top 16, which is rough.
And looking down the list here, I mean, again, to go back to the point made before, DRS, I mean, they're still in 10th place overall at 167 points. Even Reject, only 46 points so far in these 2 days, and they're still at 168. So there's a lot of teams who are looking very safe. I almost want to say, if you're like top 5 right now, maybe even extend that to like top 7, you're into the finals no matter what. I've seen it really hard for teams to surpass you and knock you out.
Yeah, I think the mathematical possibilities there are quite interesting. Like, to be fair, when you look at, but we have teams like Stalwart Esports who were one of the fan favorites, to be fair, but they didn't do quite well after week 1. They were at 99 points in 13th place after Super Weekend 1, but they came in now claiming 5th place. And we've seen the huge swing from the teams who just joined this Super Weekend. So I think this could still be a lot of change, and I want to see some, because those could be some very, very pleasant surprises.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm hoping to continue to have these surprises, and I'm really curious to see who will qualify for BC Swell. Well, you need to qualify, which has already been tough enough, but then you need to get a ridiculous amount of points in your only Super Weekend. I mean, I don't want to say they're out just yet, but it's looking very unrealistic for them if they do manage to qualify. Going forward, though, you see Dave out there. That's a massive amount of eliminations, man. We see his name so many times, and it's great to see so many like newer faces, at least in our eyes, in terms of like a global scale, being able to perform in events like this.
Able to get actually 8 eliminations throughout the day. Before these 5 games today was still, as I mentioned it many times, he was tied for first place with most eliminations with Newsy at 33. Now he's at 41. Like, he's just consistently getting those good results. And I think that the main interesting point about Daybot is his synergy with Satar. They just click. There's something about these two together when you put them in a hard situation to get out from and to potentially get a few eliminations here and there. They just make it work every time. I mean, it's for a reason we call Satar also the magician, right? With Daybot, they truly make magic become a reality almost, I have the impression. So
Daybot might just be the magician's assistant.
True, I like it. You always got to have an assistant if you want to be a good magician, man. So it's working great, and I want to see what they can do fighting versus some of the Western teams potentially.
Yeah, and obviously they are continuing to do this. I want to see if they continue to obviously do it. I'm always looking forward to the future. I'm always looking forward to seeing, again, being consistent, continue to perform at that level, just like OnePlus always performs at a phenomenal level. Our sponsor here at PMGC with his flagship performance, an immersive 120Hz display and hyper touch technology made specifically for gamers. The OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro, your best shot to climb the leaderboards, potentially your best shot to maybe pair up with Satar one day and conquer the world. Yeah. We can see Infinity, they conquered Erangel in the final match, able to close things out on a high note. And speaking of closing things out, that's what we're actually going to do right here, right now. I'm sorry, Tarzan, but the show is done. You got to save everything you want to save for the next day. But speaking of the next day, tomorrow we'll be back at the exact same time for the last day of our second Super Weekend, and you're not going to want to miss it.
Bye.